Welcome back to Dynasty Dads. This is the episode that's, you get to a certain number and you see it and go, all right, this is, a important number. This is episode 69. So,
Nice.
To have Colin on and to have Vincent on, this is a historic episode 69. Today we're doing a startup review of Dad's 32. It was a best ball league. That draft's been done for probably about a month now. I'm just a little bit behind. We'll talk some news, and that's about it for today because these take up a lot of time. So let's get right into the news. A bunch of fifth-year options were picked up. Kincaid, Bryce, and Stroud. Do y'all care about, what do you see with the two QBs? Like, is it just to buy one more year and to see what they can do before they will move on? Or, what do you see the fifth-year option being? Is it just to extend the runway before you have to pay them, or to see if they're actually going to be good? Because it's been hit or miss.
I'll start. I think with Bryce, it's truly extending the runway to see if he's hit or miss. I think with Stroud, it's just extend it, do the typical thing to help prepare for a long-term contract. I think the new Stroud's closer. I don't think they're close to rebuilding, where I think Carolina is still trying to decide if Bryce is actually the answer.
Yeah, I think it's never a great sign for the player if the option gets picked up, right? Like if you're elite, you get the extension before the option, right? But
I think almost all of them, even like JSN, all the top guys get that option because they have to do it after the third year before the true extension. Does that make sense? So they're not.
Garrett Wilson got his extension before instead of the option. Same thing with Sauce Gardner. Both of those guys got extended.
I'm pretty sure they got the option, and then maybe this offseason signed the extension.
They didn't. No, they both signed the extensions last year, and then
you are talking to the Jets fan here.
Jermaine Johnson was their third. They had 3 first-round picks that year. And it was very telling. They extended Sauce Gardner, they extended Garrett Wilson, they picked up the option on Jermaine Johnson because Jermaine Johnson wasn't in the class of Garrett and Sauce. Last year was their 4th year. So ahead of their 4th year, they got extended instead of, right?
No. They gave him all the 5th-year option and then agreed to a contract. I just looked it up.
I guess, sorry, maybe we're saying different things. They didn't play without an extension, right? That's what I'm saying.
I'm just saying after the 3rd year, all these guys get the 5th-year option, and then a lot of them will sign an extension before actually playing on it. But I'm just saying a lot of them get this 5th-year option. So it's like a normal thing to do.
Yeah, what I was saying is if you get the option without an extension and you play without the extension, that's not a good sign. That was all I was saying. Sorry.
Okay.
And so
Gus got it right.
Well, I didn't say anything.
I think we were just saying 2 different things. But
Gus calling me out saying you're the Jets fan. I was like, no, because I know I'm right on this.
Well, okay. Anyway, I think with the Texans, I think this is a little bit, if they don't extend Stroud, I think it's going the cheap route, going the Bengals route or the Cowboys route of just waiting till the 11th hour. And I think that's a really bad process. Bryce, I agree with you, Colin. I do think they need more time with Bryce to figure out what's going on. Stroud, he should get an extension before week 1. If he doesn't, that's a pretty major red flag from the Houston front office.
And what's interesting is, I can look it up, but I think a lot of these extensions, you get this, that you play through the 4th year, then you have that extension for 1 year, and then so next office season is when they get the actual contract before they play on the 5th-year option.
Yeah, the new money, a lot of times they'll have the new money start post.
Right. But it's not this offseason, it'll be next, right before the 5th-year option starts is when a lot of them get that contract.
Well, that wasn't the case with the Jets players.
Could be.
They got their extensions last year, Colin. They got their extensions a year ago. Yeah, but they played 22, 23, 24, and then they signed extensions in the 25 off season before they played their fourth seasons. That happened. That's pretty common. Jackson Smith-Njigba was drafted in 2023. He played his 2023, 2024, and 2025 seasons. And now he's not even going to play the last year of his rookie deal without having an extension signed. That's what the best players get, unless you're Jamar Chase and the Bengals are cheapskates and they just can't even think about investing big dollars in their best players because they suck.
So would you be worried about Stroud or this year if he doesn't get his extension in the next 2 months? A little bit?
I'd be worried about the Texans. Like, I think Stroud will be fine. I don't know. Like, is Stroud going to be a top 5 quarterback? I don't think so. But like, Stroud can play in the NFL. The Texans need to pay their quarterback. Like, you have to lock in your guy. So I'd be worried about Houston and their priorities if they don't sign him.
Especially like what you're saying is give him the extension of we have a 5th-year option, so we're giving you a 4-year extension on top, so the guarantees go through all 5 years, et cetera. Right?
Just put confidence in your guy, like just tell your guy, like, we believe in you, and it helps the money too, because then you can spread, you can spread the bonuses, you can have bonus options heading into those next years, and it can help with the cap too. It just gives you more flexibility to have more years to work with when you sign the deal. I don't know. It's what the smart teams have been doing.
Are you calling the Jets smart?
Not that the Jets are a smart team. Jets, to be clear, the Jets are trying to do what the smart teams are doing, and I don't know why more teams aren't following suit.
You sign them to a massive extension, and then you trade them. That's what smart teams do.
I mean, what the Jets did was very interesting. With the Garrett Wilson contract, they guaranteed all the money up front, and with the Sauce Gardner contract, they had option bonuses. So like, they didn't eat as much. I mean, they have some dead cap for this year, but they didn't have to eat like the full $90 million guaranteed of dead money. They basically had a lever in there where they could trade him that they did not have in Garrett Wilson's contract, which was super interesting because then 6 months later they traded him. So it was a little more premeditated than I think people realize.
The trade.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Same with Quentin Williams, or was his contract just a different one?
He was drafted back in like 2019, so like he was, I think, near the tail end of at least he was at least a year into his contract, whereas like
2 years left on his deal.
Yeah, but he was into his, like, the guarantees. I meant he was a lot of the guaranteed money he had already played through. So,
all right, how about the tight end Dalton Kincaid?
I think the salary is kind of what it would have been anyway if they kept him, and I think it's similar to Bryce of let's see what we got for another year and kind of go from there. I don't necessarily think they're going to automatically extend him. Vincent, what do you think?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't have a lot of thoughts on like a tight end getting this 5th-year option extend. We'll see. I'm curious to see if they give him an extension. He probably deserves one, right? Dawson Knox can't play forever unless they figure out
the amount they keep signing him to. It seems like
they're gonna give him the fountain of youth. There's gonna be Dawson Knox is gonna be vulturing Kincaid in like 2031.
Yeah,
it sounds about right. All right, that's about it for the news. It's been pretty slow in the news after the bulk of the free agency went through. There's still a bunch of guys left, but no one really huge that's really going to shift a whole lot. But let's get up into the startup review, kind of going over the league settings, because every league is they have polls where everything's voted on, and whether you agree with some of them or not. I know Vincent is very against a trade deadline. He has been very vocal, so much to the point where when I make polls now, I have to make them where you can't see who voted on what, because he will just go after them, which I get it. You're trying to plead your case, but for your sake in this one, there was
we should keep polls
trade
from
deadline.
Being anonymous.
I get it. I've kind of toyed with it going back and forth.
That's crazy.
Yeah. It just
stand on your vote.
I see both sides, and you should be able to back up your vote. Not just say I voted this because I wanted to. Like, why? But I totally get it. Some of the other settings. This is a best ball league. It is 1 point tight end premium, so you get the 1 point bonus on top of the 1 point PPR. There is a league median, and in this one, which has been a huge problem to deal with is y'all voted to include the incoming class in this startup. We didn't draft kickers. We drafted actual players, which Sleeper didn't add everyone into the roster pool, and players have continued to pop up. So we kind of had to pause the waivers. I know, I think, Vince, you were against that as well, pausing it. I don't remember. Were you against it?
No, I was just the only thing someone was like, let's take these players off this guy's roster. And
I wouldn't
made this rule change, and I was like, you can't do that. Like, that's crazy.
No.
That guy did a good job, and now we should fix it. But yeah, no, I was fine with closing waivers.
So y'all are closing waivers moving forward until after the draft, or what's your plan?
Yeah, because Sleeper is going to slowly trickle in more of the incoming class. So it's all right. Who's first to?
We've had a sharp in our waiver wire.
Yeah.
Was that you, Vincent?
No, it wasn't. I haven't been checking. I just keep seeing waiver claims are being made. I'm like, who's we just drafted? Like, there's been nothing, and then it turns out rookies been getting added, and someone's just been scooping up like really
like
good
someone's
value.
name, like a third or fourth rounder that actually could be somebody shows up and pick them up.
Yeah. A guy that probably would have been drafted if he was in there during the startup. And so someone was finally like, we should probably stop this. And we're all like, that's a good idea.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And there was also, I think there was one or two players that was in the startup that actually went back to school. One was Trinidad. And was there another one? I think he might have been the only one, but like, okay, he's not actually he's not actually going to come into the league this year. So he shouldn't be available for teams to draft him, just because like he's not actually a part of this incoming class. He would be a 2027 pick, so he did not get drafted, even though he was at the top of the queue for quite a while. I think a couple people may have drafted him by accident; they just timed out. But
there's some good discourse about that too.
Oh yeah.
There were some people saying like you should be able to draft him and just pocket him, and like what is a guy worth? Like what is the 2027 106 worth in this 2026 startup? But we didn't do that.
Yeah, and it is start 11, no trade deadline, and also 0.5 points per first down, whether that's a catch or you rush for a first down. So pretty standard outside of the incoming class being included. I think this is maybe the first or second time that this has happened. But this is the first year I think Sleeper has added them pretty early. And since they didn't have all of the information yet, that's been a nightmare to try and manage. But we're here. The league is still here. People haven't called for it to be nuked yet. So here we are. What, Colin?
Gus, you're not in the league, correct? You just, of course, are running it.
Right.
Yep.
And then I'm not in it. So I would love, Vincent, if you could give us just a couple minutes of what your thought, strategy. Was there a Devy? Was there a derby to have your pick, or was it just randomized? Is
there a reason you're asking that question?
Well,
I don't
know.
think...
I'm very curious. Give us a little insight because you're the only one that was in it and doing it. I would love your opinion going in, your pick, etc. What your thoughts were, knowing how high the tight ends ended up going, but also the idea maybe you could have gotten one, because when you look at the random list that Sleeper had, a lot of these tight ends were much lower in the random order, even with the full tight end premium, full point. So just give us a couple minutes, Vincent, of your thoughts, plans, ideas, whether it was a derby or not, why you chose this pick, or it was just randomized, etc.
Dude, I'm so glad you brought up the derby. I don't know if that was intentional or not, but I'm a passionate guy. I have a lot of strong beliefs, and I think derbies are so stupid. I don't know. I don't know how it became the Dynasty Dads norm. But what if we just spent the rest of the podcast and it's just me talking about how stupid derbies are? You let the gods decide the draft order. They have that big, beautiful button. You press it and it tells you who picks when. I don't even think we need to press it 3 times. Even we got Gus to abolish the derby. I started a rally. I think I just got people hyped up. I don't even think they necessarily agreed with me. They just saw how passionate I was, so they went with it. And you don't need to press it 3 times, Gus. You just press the randomized button and we have a draft order. That's all we need in this life. But anyway, yeah. So we didn't do a derby because derbies are un-American. You just got your draft pick and then you drafted. And I ended up with the 1-2 or the 1-3, which if it was a derby, I would have picked the other side of the draft board. So I immediately regretted the lack of derby. But then, I mean, the first 2 picks like stunned me. I'm still like, I'm a quarterback, valuer. I still respect the QB position in a super flex league, and it just doesn't seem like people do anymore. I mean, we had 2 quarterbacks go in the first 9 picks, and when I was looking at Jake's draft and I was doing my favorite picks of his, my least favorite picks, like Trey McBride was easily my least favorite pick. Like that's just, I don't care if it's full tight end premium. Like picking Trey McBride over Josh Allen is kind of crazy to me, but I get it. He's going to score a lot of points. This draft was very fun. I really liked having the rookies in there, even though I guess it gives Gus a little bit of a headache. And I got run out at tight end. I'm going to be honest. Like if you go look at my team, my tight end 1, I think is like fucking Justin Jolly or something. No, I got Terrence Ferguson, tight end 1. And then I don't think I have another NFL tight end. I think I just drafted a bunch of rookies. So
You got 2.
Yeah, it was an aggressive tight end. Oh, nice. Who are my boys? Jeremy Ruckert and Jared Wiley. Two hustle guys. 2 guys. They're going to block. They're going to get on the field. But yeah, it was a really fun draft room. I think it was a good mix of guys being aggressive, getting their guys, and then I just still can't believe how light the QB room was. Like people really relaxed the QB, which is pretty interesting.
So the tight end really early, especially the high guys, and then with the full tight end premium and the QB coming down low, kind of surprised you, and values immediately changed. Is what you're really telling me.
I mean, tight end didn't even go that early unless you're Jake. Like if you look at it, there was only one. The first time someone not named Jake picked the tight end was the 3-8, and then there wasn't another one until the 4-9. Right? It was pretty normal. It was a pretty normal tight end draft, except Jake just was like, I'm gonna buy the most expensive tight ends you could buy, and he did it. And credit to him.
Did it build excitement? It was a lot of fun seeing a guy right away making trades, and this did improve it.
It was like, first of all, Bijan 1-1 was pretty awesome. Like, I know people really respect where Bijan's at now, and like, I think like KTC puts him like right in that like top tier. But like, I was surprised by that. And then
this year, Bijan's been 101.
101, man, good for him. It was like Bijan was shot, and then like Trey McBride was chaser. That was a hell of a start. And then I got Josh Allen at the 1-3. I was pretty stoked. I almost took Drake May.
I actually got to go check if 31 if someone did differently, but I think every other one I know has been Bijan.
That's crazy.
I don't think Bijan went
at
first.
the 1-1.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to look at. I was like, wait a second. I think that might be the only draft that didn't.
Are running backs back?
No, Bijan went way late.
Yeah, like the 105 or 6 or something like that.
106 in the other league.
It's a running back renaissance, man. It's beautiful to see.
It is nice to see him coming back.
For the backs and receivers, it was obviously a very down year for wide receivers, and I think it ping pongs a lot. You'll have a year where the RBs are just popping off, and then it'll go back to the receivers and then go back to backs. And a lot of it was, a lot of the incoming class this past year, there was a lot of backs that people wanted, and it was about time because there was a lot of the older guys that were starting to fade out, and you just needed it. And then a lot of QBs got hurt, and there was a lot of bad QB play for top pass catchers like JJ, both JJs actually, where a lot of the top end guys kind of fell off for a bit. Joe Burrow was hurt for a while. And then Neighbors got hurt. So a lot of it, I think, is going to ping pong back and forth. And it's hard to predict because a lot of it is tied to, health. This was a fairly healthy year for backs. It's probably the most healthy years for backs in quite some time. So it's very hard to predict which year it's going to be. Yeah, as soon as this draft started and the first 2 picks went off, I believe I made a comment in the chat like, this draft is going to be fun. This draft is going to be fun because right out the gate, 2 picks go and it's not QBs, I'm just like, whew, guys, this is Superflex, right? And I even went to check the scoring settings just to make sure, because like, okay, I don't know how that would have happened. That just fucked up this whole fucking draft. But no,
Crankbait getting Lamar, Burrow, Herbert without trading up for any of it was like unbelievable.
Insane.
I never thought we'd see the day.
Kind of going into where the Derby thing kind of came from. It was very popular when we first got started. Like everyone wanted to do a Derby, and so that's what kind of became the norm. And basically, it won every single time I put it up for a poll for like 20 leagues straight.
If I actually admitted like where my feelings really came from, it's because I want to draft and it takes like so long for everyone to pick their picks. And I just get so annoyed and I'm just like, let's just start the draft. Whatever. That's really what it comes down to.
I get it. And there's been a lot of polls that I've stopped putting up, like, do you want 4-point passing or 6-point passing? Like, because it's always 6-point and everyone always picks the Derby. So I just took the polls out. But now that times have changed a little bit, I'll probably start throwing those polls back in just to see what the league wants and not taking them out.
I always want to
took
Derby,
them out because
so this is easy for me.
I think when people like vote, when people look at rankings and they do their research on Dynasty, I think they forget that the rest of the world plays 4-point passing touchdowns. Like these Dynasty Dads leagues, I cannot be higher on quarterbacks. And I just think people like, I don't know, maybe they're just bored. Quarterbacks can be a boring pick.
There are a handful of these leagues that are 4-point. There's like maybe like 5 or 6 of them, but the rest are 6-point passing. And those were probably the first 4 or 5 leagues. And then people started voting for 6-point passing. So it's like, all right, yeah. I'm just not going to put up the poll anymore. All right. Y'all ready to get into these teams?
Yeah.
Sure, let's do it.
All right. The first draft slot was Nate DeGreat, and the way he spells it with numbers and letters. I'm glad I got that one because I fucked up some names on the last one, but I can't read. But here we go. Nate DeGreat. QBs, you got Jackson Dart, Brock Purdy, Kirk Cousins, Will Howard, Russell Wilson. RBs are Bijan, Achane, Breece Hall, Chase Brown, Javonte Williams, Vidal, Rashad White, Isaiah Pacheco, Jaden Blue, Nick Chubb. A lot of these guys that are coming in this year that are like getting taken in like the 20s and 30s, like I haven't done a lot of tape on them. So not huge on those guys just because I haven't watched their tape yet.
Oh, you don't know about Dylan Devizin?
Nope, not a fucking clue. See, he fucking knows. All right, and wide receivers, you got Waddle, DK back-to-back, Devontae Adams, Mike Evans, Tyreek, Chimere DK, Jalen Noel, Douglas, Cup, Burks, Matt Collins, some dude named N. Thomas, and then Pena. I don't know those guys. I'm just going to say it up front. Palmer, Thornton, Copeland, and Hazelwood. I believe it's Hazelwood. Yep. Tight ends. He did get Jake Ferguson, Mark Andrews, and Jake Tonjes. So a little light in the ass, but some people took 7 tight ends, and we'll get to them next. But all right, let's get into it. Whose was y'all's guys' favorite pick from this draft from Nate DeGreat?
I'll go first. I think with hindsight, Jalen Waddle. I mean, I feel like he's in a really good spot now. Miami had just gotten so rotten. I was kind of out on Jalen Waddle the last couple of years. And I mean, he kind of proved me wrong. He looked good this past season. I don't know that he paid off his ADP. I don't really remember exactly where he was going last year, but I think he's in a good spot now where I think if you knew that trade was going to happen, I feel like he has to go at least like a round earlier, maybe 2. So I really like the value on Jalen Waddle. Thought that was awesome. Good win for him.
Yeah, and just for reference point, this draft and he got picked before the trade happened. So
exactly, yeah.
My favorite pick, I'm going a little deeper on his team, was Rashad White, and this is even before he got signed. but we knew he'd be a free agent and someone would pick him up. And he went at 20.01. So real late, but now he looks like at least a somewhat player in the Commanders' offense. And they gave him some money, maybe not world beater money, but it looks like he could be the running back one for them. And he got in the 20th round in a best ball league, and he loves to catch passes. So what about one of these games where he gets 6 rushes and 6 catches, and all of a sudden he's a 18-point back and he scores a touchdown. And so that was my favorite pick late. I just felt some of the running backs, like we'll see. He also has Isaiah Pacheco that no one wanted, and then he got lucky that he signed with Detroit, and so that idea is awesome too. But he just took a stab, and it kind of worked out. But Rachaad White, we knew would go somewhere, so I love that he got him in the 20th round.
Yeah, looking now, I'm like, what was I doing those rounds? It's kind of hilarious for him to pick Vidal in the 15th and Rashad in the 20th. It's like, how did we rank Vidal 5 rounds ahead of Rashad?
Right.
And what were we all doing 16 through 20, not picking Rashad? But yeah, that was a good pull.
Someone took Nussmeier and those awesome dudes instead.
Yeah. I was taking Justin Jolly.
Oh, no, you took Jolly. Sorry. I was hoping to make fun of you, but sorry.
No. I wish I had the Nuss bus.
Yeah, looks like you took Stephon Diggs. Ugh. Anyway, continue.
All right.
My
favorite pick. So I took a Jet. It's probably not the smartest to pick a Jet this day and age, but I took Breece Hall at the 512. I still think he is a top talent in the league, and believe it or not, I think Geno Smith will be an upgrade in this offense. It'll be a better QB for Garrett Wilson. They'll be able to move the ball more. That'll give Breece more scoring opportunities. I'm just hoping that Braylon Allen is not going to be the goal line back, kind of like it was this past year. For some parts, it was kind of split, but he came in a lot at the goal line, and then he got hurt, and then it was all Breece Hall, but that offense was just putrid. I do think it's going to be a better offense, and Breece Hall playing on the tag, maybe he gets an extension or gets traded after the draft. Either way, I think he's still a very talented player, and he's only, 24? Yeah, he's 24, so he's still in his prime. He's the most talented player in that backfield. With the guys that went right after him, you have Chase Brown that doesn't have a contract, and he could easily get like a 3-year deal, but they could also have Love fall to them. I believe they're at pick 10. I'm not saying it's going to happen. More likely he's going to Tennessee, or at 7 to the Commanders, but there's still a world where he could drop down to the Bengals, and I don't know how you don't take him there. And then, like, guys afterwards, you have Saquon Barkley that didn't look great this past year. Cam Scattergood was coming off injury, and he could also get Love there as well. So I feel like there was a pretty big drop in value after Breece Hall. It depends on how you feel about Chase Brown. But I think it was a pretty good tier break after that pick, and he made both those picks with Hall and Chase Brown. I just liked Hall better. Yep. Hopefully the Jets for all of my shares of Breece Hall and Garrett Wilson, because I have a bunch, and it's probably not a good thing to have a bunch of players from the Jets, but here we are.
Yeah. You said it was like a tier break, and I kind of agree. The only one that I want to pitch and let everyone know, of course, that's listening, is Ken Walker wasn't on Kansas City by the time this draft happened.
No.
He was already, most people assumed he was going to go back to Seattle. So this was before truly free agency started. And of course, now he would be up in that tier, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah. He would be going ahead of Hall. So,
yes.
But I also want to state his picks that he has left after this draft. I missed at the very beginning. There are no 26 picks because we drafted those players. He does not have his first for 2027. He has the rest and an extra fourth in 2027. He does not have his 28 first, but he has the rest in 2028. So does not have his next 2 years of first round picks. It's a solid team. It's where I could see it being a problem is the wide receiver room, because he's got some old guys in there, and Adams and Mike Evans. After that, you have guys like DK and Waddle who are not true ones in fantasy, so it's going to be a bit tough. But with it being best ball, he's going to have Jalen Noel pop off, DK pop off, Chimere DK pop off, Pop Douglas every now and then. Maybe Mac Hollins has a 20-point game. So like with best ball and having depth at wide receiver, anyone can catch a 50-yard bomb in a week. But as far as value in that room, it could be scary in a year or two.
He did
Right.
get like all the guys that will pop like twice. So like, so if they spread out perfectly, like he has a wide receiver room. He's got all the guys that'll just explode randomly.
All right, your least favorite picks. How about Vincent? You go ahead.
Yeah, so we just chatted a little bit about this before we started recording, but
that's why I called you out.
So my least favorite pick is one of my most owned guys, and it's Jackson Dart. And that's just we're gonna talk about Gus's least favorite pick of mine, and I'll talk a little bit more about this, but you just really don't want to, in my opinion, be the guy that drafts the buzzing sophomore quarterback, right? Like last year, Jaden Daniels was going ahead of, Josh Allen in some drafts.
He was going 101 in a lot of leagues.
Yeah, he was going top 3 pretty much every startup. He's good. He's a great player. I don't think he's like a total bust, obviously, but like he's not paying that ADP now. You had CJ Stroud a couple years prior. 2024, I guess you could say like that would have been like Bo Nix. I think you're fine if you bought Bo Nix. I wouldn't stress that too much, but like there's not a lot more that can go up from there. And yeah, so philosophically, I try to draft those guys when they're 7th round picks if you can, right? Ideally. And that's what I did with Dart. So I have a bunch of Dart, and I sold one of the shares. I'm not opposed to moving him. I think he's a good player. I think he'll be good, but you bought the top if you pick Jackson Dart in the 2nd round in 2026, in my opinion.
Yeah, he went at the beginning of the second in Dad's 31, and I think it was my least favorite pick. It might not have been, but I had brought up that I think that Dart is going to be someone that's going to fall in value after this year, and it's not because he's not a good player. I think it's a lot of because he's going to put himself in position to get hurt more than he should, and if you're not on the field and you're not, helping your team win, and in fantasy, if you can't play that guy, then his value's gonna drop. I mean, if you look at Jane Daniels, he was the first overall pick, and now he's going at the 1-2 turn. Not that Jane Daniels, he's not a good player anymore. It's just that he wasn't on the field this past year. Not saying that Dart is gonna get hurt this year, but he is a higher probability than most QBs just because of the way that he plays. And right after I said all that, that week, I saw Dart get moved 4 times in our leagues. One of those was my trade. I was like, man, what the fuck is going on? Like, why is Dart getting traded so much now? And someone chimed in, is like, you said you thought Dart was going to fall, and everyone started trading. I was like, look, don't listen to what I'm saying. All right, just take it as pure.
No, definitely listen to what Gus is saying and do the opposite and get value out.
There you go.
This is what I've been doing in every league. It is awesome.
Exactly. Do it. Exactly.
Vincent understands. He gets it.
Yep. There you go. But
who's the squawk guy? Jim Cramer. Gus is the Jim Cramer of Dynasty.
Yeah, right. This talk should be great. So I'll go with my
guys that went into year 2 last year. You have Caleb Williams that's now worth more. Dart, not Dart. Sorry. Jane Daniels obviously not worth more now just because of the injury, but he's still in the 1st round. And you have Nix, who I've seen go as high as the start of the 2nd.
Bo Nix.
So
Nix, I flipped Bo Nix before last season straight up for Puka Nacua. Like Bo Nix was going in the 2nd round last year. These weren't guys that shot up from their rookie ADP, in my opinion. Like Caleb Williams, rookie year was a late first. Bo Nix going into year 2 was he was a 2nd round pick. He's a 3rd round pick now, like a 2nd or 3rd round pick. Like these guys didn't really skyrocket after year 2. There's really historically not a ton of value in second-year quarterbacks unless you're Drake May, special talent.
Gotcha. Thank you. So my least favorite pick in this draft was Devon Achane at the 206. I love Achane. I know I've said it on here before. Just in this draft, it felt a little early. I took him in 31, but I took him at the 212. And both of us drafted him about the same time because both these startups happened recently about the same. I just don't like him in the middle of the second. Late second, early third is fine because of the workhorseness. And now, even then, we didn't know who the quarterback would be. Now, of course, we know, but we also didn't know Waddle would be gone. We knew it would be a new coach and a new quarterback, which is a little worrisome. They keep saying they're going to build around him. Could have worked out great for the HN owners because it went from no way to trading him to every buzz right now is that he's gone. I'm assuming you all seen the same thing. But at the time of the draft, you assumed he's on Miami with a quarterback and with Waddle and a new coach. So it felt a little early. There weren't many picks I didn't like, but that one I just thought was a little aggressive and early.
He's got a super wide range of outcomes, I feel like, for the season, which when you're picking in the mid-second round, you'd like to not have too wide of a range of outcomes,
I like a little higher floor. Yeah.
Yeah.
Where would you like to see him go if he does get traded?
I think right now, before he gets traded, he's probably, and I took him at 212. Now I would think he's probably a mid-third. I would have him after the kind of stack of quarterbacks that go late second, early third, probably.
I don't know that he gets moved either. Like the GM is saying that.
Where would you like to see him get traded to? Because you said that there's been a lot
not
of buzz.
In the draft.
Yeah,
my bad.
Yeah.
Seattle.
No, that's not his style. I mean, yeah, it's fun because he would be the. I mean, if you look at who was there and what they want to do, they had Ken Walker and Charbs. Like, Achane's not going to get everything if he goes there. I mean, at the start of the year, yes, but Charbs is going to. Well, that's kind of busy too there with Corum and Williams.
I mean, is it?
I'm trying to think of.
I'd love to see McVay with like a real running back again.
Minnesota.
I'm good with that.
That'd be fun.
Washington.
He's not getting traded though. Like the GM was like, guys, I'm gonna extend him before I trade him. He's not going anywhere.
But recently, I've been hearing more and more where there's smoke, there's fire, right, Vincent? And you could be right. I don't know if they trade him because then they're just taken to the nose. But when you start trading everyone else and you let your defense go, that
would be so brutal for Malik Willis if they did him that dirty.
But isn't it already brutal, right? But here's the thing: what if Seattle comes and says, "I'll give you the 32nd overall pick and a third rounder this year. You got to give me your fourth and Achane." Is that a deal they do to get out of cap, not have to pay a running back on a shitty team, and they make the deal?
I don't know.
I could, because there are rumors that Seattle wants a running back at that pick, and I think we all agree Achane's way better than whatever running back they take, right?
Probably.
You want a Super Bowl, you want to run it back, you've lost EBs.
I just don't. I mean, he's not Ken Walker. Like he's the opposite of Ken Walker. Like I don't know if he's what they like. They might want a lesser running back that they can run between the tackles a little bit more. I don't know. I'm not sure if the fit is there, but it would be fun. It'd be very fun to see Achane and JSN in the same offense.
Well, that's kind of what I'm thinking. Yeah.
All right.
I'm looking at teams to run it back to get a stud like that. Usually, it's hard to get.
Yeah.
Anyway, all right, Gus, what's your least favorite pick?
My least favorite pick was Chase Brown, so the pick right after Breece Hall.
You didn't leave the 5-6 turn.
No, I'm still right there. Yes, you look at everyone that went after him. I really think he could have took this chance to get a tight end in Pitts that was taken next, or a pass catcher, because he waited quite a while to take his first one. He didn't take a wide receiver until until the eighth round. And when you're starting 11 and you can start 3 wide receivers, because start 3, but you can start up to 6 like that. Like, waiting that long to take a wide receiver is not something that I have ever done or ever will do, just because there's so many of those guys and they're going to fit into your lineup every week. I would have rather seen him take a wide receiver, because up to that point he had already taken 4 backs: Bijan, Achane, well, 3, but Bijan, Achane, and Hall. Like, why take a 4th before your first wide receiver? Now, to be fair, the
robust.
next wide receivers taken was BTJ, Rasheed Rice, Luther Burden, and JMO. So it's not like huge names, but I think we would all probably take most of those guys over Chase Brown. Like, we would all probably take Burden, probably JMO. I don't know how y'all feel about Rice, but Rice would not be one of those. I'd probably still take the shot on BTJ over Chase Brown. Like, if I could trade Chase Brown right now as my 4th back for BTJ, I would still do it. I feel like he could have went somewhere else with that pick that would have helped his team more than taking your 4th back. That's just me.
I agree. I don't know if I was thinking about Rashi, but outside of him, like the next 7 or 8 wide receivers, honestly, like from Brian Thomas through Burden, JMO, Zay, AJB, T, even Devontae Smith, like I think all of those are guys, especially considering that running back room. Like, that's with the context of that running back room that he already had. I think those are all guys that probably help the team more to win now. And since he traded his first, I have to assume he wants to win.
Yeah.
I might be the opposite. I thought it was good value when he took him, especially in a best ball league, and I'm fine with it. Part of it to me is I look at some of the other players, and yeah, maybe you should have gone receiver, gone younger. I just thought the value was good. I mean, number 1 running back on a top team. We're not sure if he gets paid or not, but if I told you right now, in a month from that, right before the draft, right after the draft, he gets a 3-year extension, he's well worth that pick, right? So
Yeah,
there's an
and
opportunity
I don't
for
think
value to even go.
I don't think the value was the question. It was more of, you're taking your
fit.
4th back before. Yeah, like from an overall team build, like you are taking your 4th back before you take a single pass catcher, a tight end, or
I also thought it was
wide receiver.
interesting. Like 5 picks later, we saw Saquon Barkley go. Like, do we think? Are you guys comfortably picking Chase Brown ahead of Saquon? I don't know if I am.
I am, because
Saquon's
he's younger and
29.
has the opportunity.
Yeah.
I know,
Yeah.
I know. But like,
I will
again,
say
like he
this.
traded his first. Like, this guy wants to win this year. Does Chase Brown outscore Saquon Barkley in 2026? I don't think so.
I will say
Probably
this.
close.
Chase Brown went at the 4-5 and Dad's 31.
Wow.
Yeah.
Jeez,
So-
that sounds like a crazy lobby, dude. Is that the Jackson Dart drafter?
No, totally someone different.
Oh my goodness.
All
Guy that
right.
took Chase and then traded out. Yeah. Anyway, no, he took Chase Brown before who else went. Like Travion Henderson was there, and he took Chase Brown. So, anyway, it's just I like other people's opinions too. Of course, that makes it fun. But I have Brown.
Yeah.
I just think at 6'1", he's probably a pretty good value. The idea
Probably.
for his team, I think y'all are right. You're right. He's your 4th running back.
Yes, I didn't hate the value. I just thought the fit was questionable, and
Yeah.
he's starving at wide receiver now.
All right, let's move on to the next guy who's an absolute psycho. Let's go through his draft.
Wait, Gus, did you think about team strengths and team weakness?
Oh,
win
you're
now
right.
or
You're
not?
right. I completely
do that,
forgot.
yeah.
Team strength obviously is the RB room. Team weakness is the wide receiver depth, is what I put it. And I do think he is a win now team just because he's traded away his next 2 firsts, and it's a pretty solid roster going into this year. It's after this year and next that's questionable.
And his tight ends depth is a little weak as well.
Oh yeah,
but definitely win now, and I think is a solid chance to at least be in the playoffs and see what happens.
yeah. There's a lot of teams where their tight end
Next
depth is
guy.
questionable because of this next guy. 12 Jake 12. His QBs are Dak Prescott, Matthew Stafford, Deshaun Watson, and I don't know who that guy is. It doesn't matter.
Aaron
Altmaier?
Rodgers.
Rodgers.
And
Yeah,
Rodgers.
Aaron Rodgers. Yeah, Aaron Rodgers. RBs, Jameer
That'd be
Gibb, the tandem in Chicago, and Kyle and Swift, J.K. Dobbins, Sean Tucker, Chris Rodriguez, Marshawn Lloyd, Ty Johnson, Austin Eckler, and then some dude named Hankers. I'm going to sound like a total casual with these guys that are way, way down there. I'm just going to say right now. But yeah, if you're not even going to get drafted in like the 6th, 7th round, then I'm probably not even going to know who you are. At least not at this point in the year. His wide receivers. Oh, this one's even more shallow than the last one. Parker Washington, Michael Wilson, Khalil Shakir, Chris Brazzle, Malachi Fields, Flanoy, Hollywood Brown, Muntfield, Ty Felton, and Douglas. Tight ends. This is where it gets a little bit spicy. Trey McBride, Brock Bowers, Colston Loveland, Kyle Pitts, Travis Kelce, Elijah Higgins, Kate Stover, what was that? Davis Allen and Evans.
Davis Allen.
So
Davis Allen's great value. I don't know if he needed it. But.
So right off the bat, it hits you in the face. He's got 4 tight ends that went very, very high. Let me get to his picks before we move on. His picks, he has none. He has no 27, no 28. He does have his 29 picks because they weren't available to be traded in the draft. So yeah, he traded away all of his picks, 27, 28. He does have all of them for 2029. So he is all in with no wide receivers, but you don't need them when you have 5 tight ends. Who wants to go first?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll say like being the picking 1-3 and the guys picking 1-1 and 1-2 don't touch wide receiver for the first 8 rounds. It really warps your draft strategy. And I think it's why I have so many wide receivers now. Yeah, I said my favorite pick of his was Kyle Monangai. I think I don't think Lobby's adapted well enough to how big of a role Monangai took on in his rookie year. I'm exhausted with people doing like the Lions offense comparison for Ben Johnson in Chicago, but like he does have a system, right? And Monangai clearly got that Monty, that between the tackles, that goal line work role that's super valuable in a high octane offense. So getting the hero RB with Gibbs and then following that up with Monangai, I think he's got the tools around this barren wide receiver room to put up, 240 points a week while I complain about his bad process.
Yeah. My favorite pick, I'll talk about mine in a second, but the Monangai, and what I liked is he immediately also got Swift. So he has the backfield for at least this year. So while we got rid of all his picks, he's competing this year. Now he has the upstart. People are so high on Chicago, but he has their backfield, which I do love, especially with pairing with Gibbs with the hero running back. My favorite pick is actually a little later on. Everyone knows I'm super high on him, Khalil Shakir. I love it because it's perfect for his build, which is Gibbs, tight ends, upside, right? And then a floor option in Shakir, which to me is, 4 or 5 catches, hopefully 50, 60 yards, get a floor option on a late wide receiver in the 14th round that you think might hit your roster every week in the receiver slot, while hopefully Pitts, McBride, Loveland, 1 or 2 or 3 of these tight ends will be in your flex. So you're not even worried about them finding a flex option. So I love Shakir there in the 14th round. I still think he'll be a nice vital piece of the offense over in Buffalo. And so I think it fits his build well with the floor option there.
Yeah, he's a low end wide receiver 3, and he's your wide receiver 3 on a 0 wide receiver team. Fits perfectly. Yep. I agree.
All right, my favorite
Gus?
pick. I went with J.K. Dobbins. He got him at the 18-2. I believe this was way before he resigned with the Broncos. So to get him that late now, he would be probably going closer to the 10th round, just because he's going to be the starting back for the Broncos. No matter what you feel about R.J. Harvey, it's going to be J.K. Dobbins to start the game. It's going to be J.K. Dobbins between the tackles at the goal line. He's going to be a solid back end RB2, RB3 for fantasy, and for him to probably be your RB2 to maybe 3 every week, he's going to fit in pretty much every week at some spot in your lineup, whether that's a flex or an RB position. And to get him in the 18th round, I thought that was huge.
Is it really every week?
Probably, because you're only going to have three wide receivers. You're probably going to have 3 tight ends. Make it maybe all 4 tight ends could start every single week.
I don't know if Dobbins can outscore all those tight ends, but
yeah, that's fair.
That was more of a shot.
Kyle Pitts
by week 7 on the field.
Yeah,
but as an 18th rounder, yeah, it's worth a shot.
yeah, sure.
Who do we hate?
Yeah, I mean, I hate picking tight ends.
We all 3 have tight ends.
And
I just saw that.
I also hate taking
ends.
tight ends 4th overall. I think taking a tight end 2nd overall is a bad idea. I think taking a tight end 4th overall is a bad idea. I think doing both and trading everything to do it, I think is insane. But it'll be fun for science just to see how it goes.
For science. So
I can't wait for this guy.
Mine was Trey McBride, but
okay.
Just the
I
process.
can't wait for this guy to win the league this year.
Yeah,
I just can't wait for
awesome to talk about.
He will.
All right,
my least
who is
was
your
Loveland
tight
at
end?
the 211, and it really wasn't. I've been a little bit anti-Loveland because I think there's more options, even though he's been great. My biggest thing is, since you already had those 2 studs, I kind of understand trying to lock out the market, but Loveland wasn't the guy to me when you could have easily gotten one of these top quarterbacks to pair with those guys, that were available to draft. Whether you like
Jackson
Darts or Mahomes or Trevor Lawrence, or we'll go through a lot of other teams. The 3rd round had a lot of quarterbacks. And just to me, you could have taken one there and been in a little better shape overall, and still load up later on tight ends as kind of flyers in a best ball. But I understand cornering the market. Just for me, Loveland was a little early.
Yeah, it's fair. And you can look at the very next pick was Dart, and that started a QB run. Like, it literally went Dart, Herbert, Hurts, Nix, T-Law, Mahomes, like right after that. Like, you could have been the start of that run and gotten the best value out of it because you were at the start of the run. Whether you're taking the 3rd tight end and you were the only one that took tight end so far, like, that probably would have been my move. I don't think I would have taken a tight end that high to begin with in the 1st round where he did, but I get it. I mean, if you look at Trey McBride, I believe he was the highest scorer in this platform this past year. That says a lot. And he's a great player. There's some questions at QB. We already know it's going to be Jacoby Brissett, but what comes after? And that these QBs are going to be the guys after, this year. I don't want to say about Dart, but pretty much everyone else, Herbert, Hurts, Nix, T-Law, and Mahomes, like, they're here to stay. But yeah, that my pick that I chose that I didn't like was Kyle Pitts, just because you took a fourth tight end before you took another pass catcher, whether it be a wide receiver, and you took one QB, one RB, and no wide receivers. It's no secret that I like to build around the wide receiver room, just because it's the safest bet outside of QB, just based off of talent. And if they get hurt, their career's not over with. Not to say that's going to happen for tight end. They're probably the next one down. But you could have taken, I already said it, BTJ or all these other wide receivers, Burden, J-Mo, Zay Flowers, AJ Brown, T. Higgins. Like, those are players that I would rather have over Kyle Pitts. Kyle Pitts being my fourth tight end versus taking my wide receiver 1. All right. Team strength. I think it's very clear, very obvious here. Holy cow, tight end.
I think it's
Team
tight end.
weakness. Really? That's shocking. Shocking here. Weakness. I mean, he's pretty good at QB. Obviously, he's good at tight end. Weakness, RB, and I left off wide receiver just because he's very, very thin at wide receiver. Yes, he does have Gibbs at RB, but outside of that, it's a lot of guys that probably don't have a role 2 years from now. So it's a lot of trying to build for right now with RBs, and you don't have any picks in the next 2 drafts, 27 and 28.
Yeah.
So he's probably going to have to trade a tight end.
Yeah, one of my weaknesses is QB2, because after this year, if Stafford retires, he does not have a QB2 in a best ball superflex format. Like, he just doesn't. So he's really all built in to win now, as in just this year, with these tight ends. And hey, you're right. For how many he's got, maybe one could fill in the superflex spot, but of course, it's not ideal.
Yeah. All right, Vince, you're up. You didn't trade for shit,
Awesome.
man. You went straight down the board.
I did. Well, I did trade out. I got Goat Daddies first. And that was when, I mean, I didn't get a QB2 early. I normally try to get a second quarterback. I didn't get any of like the elite running backs. It was very clear I was going to have to go 0 tight end. I could have picked Laporta there, but I was probably going 0 tight end. And so that's when I was like, all right, I think this is probably going to be let's prioritize youth. I'll snag a future first. And yeah, prioritize, a strong wide receiver room, get the bones, get a young quarterback, take a flyer on a Ty Simpson. And that was the direction I went at that point. But yeah, I didn't make a lot of trades in this one. I thought the value charts were off. Like, the trades people were making, every time there's a trade, I was like congratulating someone on like the great deal. I couldn't get anyone to do those great deals with me. So yeah, this is by far my least active startup in terms of trading, which was, a little bit of a bummer.
Any startup you're in with heads up is probably usually one of the quickest to the trade market. So you either got to beat them to it or just play in the game.
He beats you down too. Like, I'll negotiate with him and like, we'll be like 13 counters in and I'll be offering something like I never would have offered. And he's like not accepting it. And I'm like, get me out of here. How did I find myself here? And you just got to kind of remove yourself from those conversations or he'll get you. He's a demon.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so I guess I'll just say my favorite pick. Yeah, my favorite pick of mine. I say this every year. It's going to pay off one of these years. Was Tajay.
Spencer, before you do that, go through your whole team and then give us that.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, so 1-3. I already talked about this, but like Josh Allen got to me at the 1-3. That was awesome. I'll take Josh Allen every day. There's not much analysis that goes into that. I believe in quarterbacks. I believe you want to get top quarterbacks to sustain success. And so, yeah, I took Josh Allen there. From there, went wide receiver. If you actually look, I took Drake London at the 210. He was my number one receiver. That was between him and Tet McMillan. I was choosing between those two. And then from 211 until 3-8, 0 wide receivers come off the board. And I was like, I'm really going to get both. I'm going to get Tet McMillan. And then, of course, you know how it goes. Tet McMillan goes 3-9. So I took Nico, and then coming back around in the 4th, I got my boy Garrett Wilson. It's just a series of wide receivers that you're like, this is going to be the year. That's kind of the theme as we go through this. Brian Thomas, same story. And then I got my first running back. I got RJ Harvey in the 7th and Basil Tootin in the 9th. That's my, again, I'm not opposed to taking, I'm not going to completely punt running back, but I'm going to take young running backs whose situation could look better 12 months from now, right? Like that's kind of my thought process. It's
or 2 weeks after this draft.
Yeah,
and from maybe the backup to the starter. So yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe Travis Achan can sign in New Orleans. And and then I picked a lot of rookies. Honestly, I don't think people had their rookie ranks up to date when they were doing this draft because Gus knows I love to talk about having a loaded queue during the draft. So I was like, I have like different rankings I like to reference, and I try to come up with a consensus. I bake in my beliefs, and every time I was picking, the top guy in my queue was a rookie. And I tried to mix in some vets, but it just, I was already doing the youth movement. I was like, why not? I think this rookie is a good value here. So I have about 48 rookies on this team, including Ty Simpson. And I talked about, just a few minutes ago with Jackson Dart, don't buy the top on these sophomores. I was the one picking Jackson Dart in the 7th and 8th round a year ago. And so you can't pick and choose when to do that, or you're going to miss the Jackson Darts. So do I think Ty Simpson's going to be a superstar? I don't know. But in the 10th round, a guy that's probably going to get NFL starts in 2026, odds are he'll go higher than the 10th round next year if he gets a QB1 job, right? So that's the thought process with that. But I'm not going to bleed into like the 20s and 30s. I'm going to be honest, like I don't know who Dean Connors is, but I took him with my 34th round pick. So yeah, we can discuss the team. You guys want to tell me your favorite and least favorite picks?
Sure.
I'll go first.
I'll jump in here.
Colin, go ahead.
Am I delayed,
Go
or
ahead,
Gus?
Colin.
Are you a little delayed?
I think Gus might be a little delayed, but
Gus a little. Did you
just-
reset
is
your
me.
router?
I did.
I think so.
I did
Just a
actually
little.
before.
But you're good, Colin. You can go first.
Go ahead, Colin.
Gotcha. I'll go. So my favorite pick, and it's a guy of mine. I tried to take some that I like, some that I didn't, but this is one. RJ Harvey that late. We weren't sure Dobbins was coming back, but even then at the 7-10, a young running back in Sean Payton's system that scored 14 touchdowns last year. And that's where the first 6 weeks he really didn't even play. I think he'll be more used from the beginning. Is it going to be a split? Some kind, yes. And I honestly think that could help him. We saw even in New Orleans, there were some years where Kamara got overworked just as a running back, in my opinion, where we didn't get to see some of his pass work and some of that. So for me, it was RJ Harvey at 7-10, based on the value and who else was around at that pick. I just thought, I think you made the choice to go youthful because as soon as you made Harvey, of course, Derrick Henry goes, Javonte Williams. So part of it was going more youthful compared to the age. And when you traded away your 5th for a future first, I love the idea that you at least stuck to the plan, And so doing that made it very important that you got the younger guys and you could see moving forward. Nico Collins still has value. So if in the season you realize you're out of it and he has a decent year, guess what? He's a piece you can easily trade even if he is older. So I enjoy that you went the youth route pretty much from then on. You just look at those picks from 7 through, I think it was the 14th round that I was looking at, and you literally went RJ Harvey, Concepcion, Casey Concepcion, Basil Tootin, Ty Simpson, Ja'Cory Lane, Terrence Ferguson, Tajay Spears, who is a little older, but then Katron Allen. And so you literally just went youth and stuck to the plan, which I really love when someone does that. So my pick was RJ Harvey, but I like that you stuck to your plan.
It didn't feel good taking RJ Harvey over Derrick Henry and Javonte, I'll tell you that much. But that's exactly what it was. It was just trust the process. I do think I would have taken Ken Walker there. And gosh, I wish I got him, but he went a couple picks ahead.
Yeah.
But yes, that was the thought process. Hold the nose.
Yeah.
So trying to stick with the plan there, why'd you take Diggs?
Yeah, dude. I didn't even mention that going through the team. I cut myself off before mentioning Diggs. I in the group chat, the league chat, I was like, we're probably in like the 14th round, and I was like, which one of you like just like immoral degenerates is gonna take Stephon Diggs? It was like the news was hot off the press. And then he just kept falling, and I was like, dude, you know what? I'm gonna be able to flip him for a 2nd round pick, I guarantee, or maybe a 3rd round pick. But like, I'm gonna be able to flip him mid-season when he's going off if he's not in jail. And if he is in jail, well, I go. Aaron Rodgers was the next pick. I didn't lose a lot of value there, but yeah, I didn't feel good about that. Speaking of holding your nose and making a pick.
Fair enough. My favorite pick that you had was Tootin. You took him in the 9th. Now he's going to be the starter for the Jags. He was someone that a lot of people liked. He definitely had his fans. when he came into the league, and now that Travis Etienne is gone, he's now the clear guy there. And to get him, well, to get your, guess you probably for the season, your RB1 in the ninth, that's a damn good pick. I did want to add in there. I know I said it on the last episode that I think Cade Klubnik is probably my favorite QB out of the next group of guys. You know, after after basically Mendoza, I've come out and said I'm not a huge fan of Ty Simpson, but I think Cade Klubnik, like if I had to put money on someone else getting snaps in the league, it would be him. So to get him in the 30th round, I think was a great pick. I'm pretty sure he went in one of the first 2 rounds of our Devy startup this past year. Not the startup, but the Devy draft. So to get someone like that in the 30th, yes, it wasn't the best season, but I still like the player.
Yeah. Fair. I'll start with the person I like the least, and I didn't even select one. There's 4-point tight end premium. Even if you're planning for the future, you have no tight ends that look worth a shit. You have Terrence Ferguson, which is like a hope and a prayer that Colby Parkinson and then isn't something. And then, of course, you got a little unlucky that they re-signed Higbee after that, right? Jolly's a rookie. I think it's Andres is a rookie. And then Wiley and Rucker at the very end who might not make the teams. It shows a clear situation where you're going to have to attack it, Vincent, right? And I think you know that. But in the drafts where you got the extra first, you might have to take, even with how good the class is next year, you might have to take the top tight end off the board, whoever that is, next year, and probably continue to load up and maybe make some trades. Like when you trade Nico, maybe see if there's a tight end you can grab coming back to you. So, anyway, on the whole, I like your team. It's definitely a rebuild, but the no tight ends in a full 1-point tight end premium best ball, because they can slide so easily randomly into a flex position, is my biggest gripe with your team.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I definitely just kind of got ran out of tight end. I was going to pick Pitts with my 6th round pick. He went to pick before me. And then, if you look at the draft board and you just slide over to the right-hand side of the draft board, it's all orange. So it was like every time the board got away from me, I needed to get into the right side of the draft board. Because every time I got away from it, there was a tight end run. And so I just kept saying, value's not here. I'll wait. And yeah, you get burned sometimes doing that.
Yeah.
What was your
Gus,
favorite
what you
pick,
got?
Vince?
My favorite pick was Tyjae Spears. I just think Tony P can't do it forever. I think they like Tyjae Spears. Tyjae Spears, he's a big coach speak guy too. I don't know. I haven't heard Salah yet, but coaches always say good things about him. And but we'll see how the new regime likes him, or maybe he'll find a new home. But yeah, I was in the 14th. I was surprised Tyjae was still there. The guy's going after him. Kenneth Gainwell went in the same round. Kamani Vidal went around later. So I just felt like Tyjae kind of stood out to me a little bit there.
You excited for him to be the backup now that we know more information? Like the draft happened before a lot of other signings, right? But are you excited for him to be the backup?
No.
Okay.
No, I'm not excited for him to be a backup.
Okay. I'm just assuming he's the backup to Love, but that's what I mean. And they cut Tony Pollard.
I don't know, man. We'll see.
Well, we will. I mean, I'm just saying these are my assumptions now. But at that
Gotcha.
point, at 14-3, yeah, I think the offense was kind of up and coming. We knew they add some pieces, etc. New coach, new regime. We knew that was happening before the moves have happened.
I don't know what Tony Pollard's contract looks like. I kind of thought he'd be a cut candidate this offseason. I'm kind of bummed he's still there.
Well, so I think they got him because cap, money isn't really an issue. They're the most cap space, so who gives a shit, right? I think it all comes down, if they take Love, I keep hearing Pollard's gone.
Yeah. Well, I think I'd rather Pollard if those are my options.
Over Love?
I think if as a Tajay Spears owner, I'd rather him competing with Tony
100%.
Pollard
Yes.
over Jeremiah Love. Yeah,
Fair.
I think so.
Yeah, I think everyone would. So,
yeah,
All right.
as
Picks
far
we hate.
as my least favorite pick, my least favorite pick was Stephon Diggs.
Stephon Diggs. Nice.
I did not want to pick him. I'm not glad I have him. I don't even think he's worth the 17th round pick. The more I think about it, the more I'm like, that actually wasn't good value at all.
You should
He was like
tight end there. You could have taken Jake Tonjes.
Oh, I could have had Tonjes. Shoot, he's probably a great guy. He's probably a good person, never hits people. But so I think it was one of those things like Diggs was at the top of the queue. Like he was at the top of the draft board for like so long that it just gets in your head. It's like, okay, well, obviously this is great value. I look at it now and I'm like, that's atrocious value. This guy might be out of the league. So yeah. Moving on. Yeah. Fuck Stephon Diggs. I want to be on record.
All right, Colin, go ahead.
I already said mine with horrible
Colin
tight
already
ends.
shat on my tight ends.
That's right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I guess I'll go then, and I've kind of already said it. It's Ty Simpson. In the 10th, I get the thought process that he has a good shot to gain in value if he does get that day one draft capital. We were talking before we started that that the Jets pick 33. So if a team wants to draft him and jump the Jets, they have to go into the first round to get him. It's a great process. He's going to more than likely be a day one pick. If he goes close to the top or the bottom, nobody knows yet, except the team that's at the top of the draft. The Jets are probably going to take him at the very top. How would you feel if the Jets took him at the top of the first?
No comment.
All right, gotcha. But yeah, I'm not a big Ty Simpson guy. So with the 10th round, like there's so many tight ends that went after that I would have rather had. But I get the thought process that you're taking players that can gain value, and I'm fine with that.
Yeah, it's probably smarter for me to go into 27 with one QB than no tight ends, right? With that upcoming QB class. So
yeah.
But also it's like even then tight end kind of got barren. Like Brenton Strange, TJ Hawkinson, George Kittle, like it wouldn't really make sense for me to pick those guys. Juwan Johnson the following round. Like I think by the time I was picking Ty Simpson, I think I'd kind of already missed the boat at tight end. And that was probably my thought.
Strange could have been the pick or the option in my opinion, but like Hawkinson and Juwan Johnson for how young your team had gotten, it's almost a waste because even trying to trade them when you got there, maybe in season you could have gotten some from a contender, but truly, Strange is the only one just because of youth.
Yeah, maybe I should have picked Strange.
All right. Team strength, I think it's pretty clear. It's just youth overall. You did not trade any of your future picks. You did gain a 27 first. And then I'd say your weakness is pretty clearly tight end. And I think we can all agree this is a rebuild, Vince, unless you find some way to flip this to being a contender this year. I don't think you have the names really to do that. It's more of let's draft the youth and wait till 2027. Was that your thought?
Yeah. I will say as far as strengths go, I think I probably have like the third or fourth best top end wide receiver room in the league.
That's fair.
Yeah, I would have you as top 3.
I would say I would say wide receiver is a strength, but I would also add QB as a weakness. Like I didn't do well at QB or tight end. Obviously, it's nice to have Josh Allen, but all I have is Josh Allen, and then, but yes. So I agree with you guys on the rebuild piece. I think I committed to that about 3 or 4 rounds in. Definitely.
As soon as you get a first to trade your 5th, just straight up, right? I think is what the deal. Just looking at it about that, you could tell you immediately were going youth.
Yeah, I think. For me, it's like a first is about worth a 5th, and when I have a late 5th, I don't know. I'm happy to flip.
No, the 27 first, it's worth it.
Exactly.
Like in certain classes, I'd be like, no. In this class, oh yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of about where you get if you're trying to do it.
But yeah, I agree with you overall, Gus, on your assessment.
Moving on to the next team, we got Goat Daddy 69. It's a interesting name. Anyways,
our 69th episode.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Shout
there you
out,
go.
man.
All right. His QBs are Cam Ward, Sam Darnold, Mac Jones, Tua, Justin Fields, Mariota, Trubisky, Mason Rudolph, and Aiden O'Connell. So a lot of backups that might see some playing time at some point in the year, just because that's the way the NFL works. RBs, he went pretty heavy at the very top with Hampton, Genty, Judkins, Derrick Henry, Caleb Johnson in the 16th. That's honestly pretty high. You got Wright, Giddens, Shipley. He's the one that took Anthony Sherman. Wide receivers, Ted McMillan, Roma Dunze, Denzel Boston, Travis Hunter, the corner, Jaden Reed, Jaden Higgins, Zachariah Branch, A.D. Mitchell, Isaac Tesla, Calvin Ridley, Chisholm, Yoshi Voss, Horn, tight ends. He went pretty heavy at the top. Just one tight end, Sam Laporta. He did not draft another tight end until Dawson Knox. There's a blank spot there at 21-9. I don't know who that is.
Rough. Yeah.
Maybe y'all can fill that in later.
Just let it go.
Okay. Fair enough. All right. I'll go first here. My favorite pick was Tua at the 13-9. I know there's not a lot of people that are high on Tua. I think there's a good chance that he plays a good amount this year. And I honestly think he's the better overall quarterback than Penix. I know Penix is slightly younger. Like, what's the age gap on Tua and Penix? Tua's 28. Penix, where the fuck you at? Penix, he's 25. Okay, so there's a 3-year gap. I was thinking it was maybe a year or two. But I think Tua will play at least at some point this year, and I think he's the better of the two QBs just from what he's done. Yes, it's been rough in the past couple of years, but it's been rough for all of the Dolphins outside of HN this past year. So I think a first start for Tua might see like a Baker type arc at the best case.
Can you tell us, Gus, what picks he has too?
Yes, sir, I can.
Also, I'll note Tua just turned 28 this month, and Penix turns 26 in a month, so they're 2 years apart.
Yeah, fair enough. He does not have a 27 first or second. He has his third and fourth, all of his 28 and 29 picks. So
and no extras. Okay, because he traded back from the first round. So I was curious if he added some, but he got rid of his. Okay.
He bought Sam Laporta. He traded me the first and got Sam Laporta with that pick. That's what he did.
Gotcha. All right, I'll jump into my favorite pick. I actually went later on because honestly, I wasn't the biggest fan of his draft in general, which is more player takey than anything. But one of the guys I just thought went really late, especially for a best ball format, was Isaac Tesla, because who knows, injuries, etc. That offense still seems humming. They still have a good O-line. And we even saw last year he can make some acrobatic catches for touchdowns. And so who knows, in the 19th round, getting 19-9, you got Tesla, who's the third receiver, clearly second year getting in, maybe gets a couple more targets. I think is worth a good risk there.
Yeah. My favorite pick was Cam Ward. He's another guy that if he made it to me at 6'3", I would have taken him. That's a really good price for a guy that went 1-1, and it was dysfunctional. That whole organization, coach got fired week 4. It was clearly just it was a bad situation. I think he's got Brian Dabble coming in. Brian Dabble desperately tried to trade to get Cam Ward, was not able to, and then turned Jackson Dart into the 212. So Cam Ward's a great talent. I think he's in a good situation. I think 5'9" for a first overall pick with a lot of upside and, a rising situation. I think that's great value.
All right, I'll go picks I hate. For me, I'm not a huge fan of taking RBs very highly, and he took 2 of them in the second round. Those were his first 2 picks, in Genty and Hampton. Yes, they are great players,
Yeah.
but we saw the lows this past year at points with those two players. You know, Hampton got hurt. That's something that's going to happen at this position more than any other position. And then Genty, I think the Raiders have a shot to really outperform where people think that they're going to be this year. With Mendoza, I think he's a fairly pro-ready QB. Problem is that they don't have any pass catchers really outside of Bowers. They do have a couple wide receiver 3s and 4s, but that's not going to get it done. It's going to be a lot of Bowers and Genty. Hopefully for Genty, he can return on this draft capital. I know, Colin, your love over Ashton. Not Colin, Vince, are you of the same where you have love over Ashton?
Honestly, that's a coin flip for me. I think right now, Love being the mystery box that he is, I think I'll take him. If he ends up on the Titans or the Cardinals, I don't know if I could sustain that, but like he could still end up on like the Rams, or somewhere really fun. So we'll see what happens with him. But I think right now I would take him.
Okay,
but
that's fair.
It's really a coin flip.
Gotcha. Yeah, we've discussed it a few times. I have it real close, but I do have Love ahead. A little bit better prospect and better situation to me than the Raiders. The pick I like least, and it came down actually because you already have 2 running backs, is taking the big risk on Quinton Junkins. That's why I asked if he had any extra first, because going into next year, having Junkins is nice, but he went at the 4-6, and the injury with a questionable offense, both those things combined, just I'm not completely out, but I don't want to be buying into that situation in the 4th round. When, you had 2 running backs, and 2 picks later was George Pickens, like stuff like that. I would have just gone a different direction.
His first 5 picks were second-year players. I think that's super interesting. He went Genty, Hampton, Tet, Judkins, Cam Ward. I think that's astounding.
Last year was stacked.
And then my least favorite pick of him is another second-year player, which is Travis Hunter. I think I was very high on Travis Hunter. Talk about takes of mine last year that didn't go well. I took Travis Hunter ahead of Hampton a couple times, and I wish I didn't. I did take Hampton over Hunter once, but I took Hunter over Hampton twice. And yeah, I think you just got to know when to jump. And he's a cornerback now. That's gonna. I don't know what it's gonna look like, but that he's not a 9th round pick right now. I don't think.
Yeah, he would have been my pick because he's a cornerback, but I've said it too many times on this podcast and to everyone. I have 0 shares of Hunter. I had T-Mac ahead of Hunter everywhere last year, so I literally have 0 shares in like 80 leagues. And if he turns it around, great. I said this to Miles, and I'll say it here again. I feel if you like Hunter, the time to trade for him is after this season, when he plays mainly cornerback, barely slot receiver, and he's a 20th round pick, and you can trade a 3rd for him, where now he still has too much value on people's teams. Yeah. There's too much gut reaction of, I'm not giving him up for that.
Sunk cost fallacy.
You got it.
I do not feel that. If someone will take him, I will send him away.
What would you take for him?
If you
just so I can send out an offer.
If you gave me like a 2nd round pick for him right now, I'd probably take it.
In some leagues he's gone 112 and then 212, and I was like, wow, that's
okay. Maybe not 212, but like if you give me like a 2.5, right?
But someone traded both the 112 and the 212 for him in a league. I was like, that's just no way. Some people still are very high. I said my price is about the 303.
I mean, if you offered someone the 112 and the 212 for the startup 9.9, that's where he went here, they'd be jumping for joy, right?
I agree. I just think that price is ridiculous. Yeah.
Yeah, his price is clearly set lower than that, but I would take like a early to mid 2nd probably for him if you want
like
to go.
Although
I already flipped him to you, Gus, and Dad's 22. You gave me Christian McCaffrey, and I won the championship. So thanks for that.
I don't think that was the whole trade.
No, that was it. That was it. Moving on. Moving on. Let's get back to the
No.
draft. Thanks, guys. Thanks. No, we don't need to get into
Hold
anything
on.
else. Do you
Hold
want me to go
on.
through? So his team strength were running backs, team weaknesses, tight end depth, which we all agree on, and it's definitely a win now, especially when you trade away, your first and second for next year in a loaded class.
I don't have
the
them.
depth is
Did I trade 'em?
interesting. Why'd you put tight end depth as the
Oh, yeah, I
weakness?
do.
Because the tight end weakness is because he only has Laporta, and that's it. Did I miss somebody?
All right, so this was the full
God,
trade.
Gus.
I got Travis Hunter and his 27 first for Christian McCaffrey, Jawan Jennings, and my 27 second.
And you won the title?
I won the title, yeah.
He won the title, yeah. I was playing for next year, which Matt checks out. His wide receiver 3 currently is Hollywood Brown. He's got AJ
My
Dillon
wide receiver
as
3
flex.
is not Hollywood Brown.
I know
not shit in this thing. Let's move on.
It's best ball, so all of the rosters are kind of funky. But you got Puka on the bench just because it's best ball. But
I think I'm in that league now. I think I just joined, like this offseason.
Yeah. I'm still good with it
Cool.
because the
Vince is
27 first.
Vincent is because he won. So
Yeah, so
I'm gonna
it
win
worked
again this
for both of us. No, you're not. Get the fuck out of here. Anyway.
But no, there's no real tight end depth on this team, and so that's where his weakness is going to be. If I looked at it correctly, and I hope I didn't see that wrong, he literally has Sam Laporta, and his next best guy is Cole Kmet.
Who?
And Dawson Knox, and like those are his only 3 tight ends. So he's truly, even in best ball, just running with 1.
Yeah, maybe Justin Fields gets some run at tight end this year.
Ooh, dual eligibility.
That's spicy.
Nice.
That's
spicy. One of those spicy takes. So
anyway, who's next?
Taysom Hill.
Oh, Jerkowski.
I kind of messed up the order, so if we just want to keep going down to my sleepers, so just go down to the next one. My sleepers, this was his first draft with us. Everyone else up to this point, actually,
like Paris or something, right?
Jake is also a first-time guy. He did take over an orphan, but this was his first startup. This is my sleeper's first league with us. Period. He has no orphans, but I liked his draft a lot. I believe he's one of the top 5. Hopefully, that's not a spoiler at the very end here.
Really?
But starting off QBs, Jordan Love, Jared Goff, Mendoza. He got Garrett Nussmeier, Drew Aller, RBs, Henderson, Saquon, Jadarian Price, Sampson, Rashad Smith. He is also George Alani, which now that's probably. I mean, he had a full 3-4 days where he was the starter for the team. But wide receivers: Egbuka, Quint Johnson, Omar Cooper, Shaheed, Chris Godwin, McMillan, Debo. Who else he have? He had Skylar Bell, Devon Vele, Tillman, Mechie. Tight ends: Tyler Warren, Gadsden, and Taylor. Let me look at his picks. I believe he's got a good amount of picks as well.
He has an extra first. He got Nate the Great's first.
Okay.
Yep. He had he has extra first in 27, an extra second in 27, an extra fourth in 27, an extra second in 28.
Nice.
So, all right, Colin. How about you start it?
Okay, I'll start it up. Yeah, so my favorite pick actually is a little later on the draft. If you look in round 14 and 15, he made a lot of trades, moved around, got extra picks, but he ended up getting at 14-5 Chris Godwin, at 14-9 Rashid Shaheed, and in 15-18 at 15-8 he got Jalen McMillan. So he has kind of I think he also got Ibuka. So he has the entire Tampa Bay backfield, or Tampa Bay receiving core. But the idea that you got those three in the 14th and 15th round, is I love those picks. I think it's great. You compare them all. It's really, because it's best ball, you don't have to make a choice. You just hope one hits every week, and all of a sudden you got a QB 3/2. There's a good chance at least one will hit each week.
And Debo in the 17th too is like nothing. Like, his wide receivers in the starting lineup look kind of rough for like Buka, QJ, Omar Cooper doesn't inspire confidence, but in best ball, that's a good rotation. You're right.
Right. Especially because then you have the three I just mentioned. So, yeah, exactly. What about you, Vincent? Who you like?
Yeah, it looks like Gus and I had the same pick here, and that's Tyler Warren at the 3-8, especially when you think about, what Jake did to the tight end board in this draft. There were no tight ends picked anywhere near Tyler Warren. Like, he was the only pick for a round before or after him. And I think that's because he probably should have gone a little bit higher. I think the gap between him and Loveland is not as large as it looks in this draft room. So I thought that was great value on a tight end and a full point tight end premium. That was a great get there.
Yeah, I'm on the same boat with you. The fact that he was the second one to take a tight end and he didn't take a tight end until the 3-8, I think is wild, especially with the 1 point bonus that you get, and that no one else really went after tight ends after Jake just took 3 to start the draft there. But I do agree. I think Warren and Colston are pretty close together. It's really about who do you want to be tied to for the next 3-4 years. Is it Jones or is it Caleb Williams? And I would lean the Caleb side, just off the coin flip. That's why I was taking Chase over JJ like 2 or 3 years ago, because I wanted Burrow with Chase versus whoever the QB was going to be for JJ. So I'll give the coin flip to the QB. Colin, who do you hate?
I was not the biggest fan at the 508. He took Jared Goff, and I just feel he's fine. He's a good quarterback, whatever. But in this build, getting the extra pick, the fact that he's your third quarterback and you took him that early, where I thought you could have waited, is more what I didn't like about it. Because you took Love at the 4-2, and you just took Mendoza right before it, 3 picks in front of it. And so the idea that you triple up with Goff just doesn't. I just don't feel the upside. Where if you take, a lot of the guys right behind him, right? Cam Ward, somewhat Darnold, Kyler Murray, Tyler Shuck. If you want to triple up, have your third pick, I would rather be a little higher upside of a quarterback than just Goff, if you've already taken Love and Mendoza.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I think those 3
I
quarterbacks.
see your pick.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, I think similarly, I think he kind of overdid the mid QBs in a spot where, he had some other holes, and there was value later on at quarterback. I think that was a weird spot to pick off. So I don't disagree. I've never seen Jordan Love picked at a spot where it felt like it was good value. I can't figure out how people keep picking this guy. But sure, yeah, get the QB 15 in the early 4th round. Yeah, you can't get middle of the pack production like that anywhere else in the draft. So just keep doing it.
I love.
Yeah, it definitely hurts when you miss. Was it 2 games? But neither here nor there.
So you're right. So yeah, he missed those 2 games. So the year before that,
he missed,
probably played
I think,
more
2 games.
Oh, so he just kind of consistently misses games. It sounds like
it's 2 games. It's not fucking Joe Burrow level, right?
Okay. Well, you're gonna get the QB
Any
15,
fucking
and he's
way.
gonna give you 15 games. That's great.
Yep. A lot of it is also, his value. He's gonna be there for a long time. You're looking at other guys like Goff, who
they only invest
age.
the most at quarterback out of any team in the NFL. I'm sure they'll never stumble into his replacement.
Probably like in another 6 or 7, 8 years. So it's fine.
Maybe.
The pick that I didn't like was Gadsden at 7.5. I think the value. I just don't know what it is about him. I don't think he's really going to turn into anything that's going to be great for fantasy. Yes, he had his 2 or 3 game stretch this past year. He's young. He's athletic. But for this build, you only have one wide receiver up to this point. You could have taken Smith, who went 2 picks later. I mean, you could have taken a 4th QB if you wanted to. Just kidding. But like to take a second tight end this high and one that really hasn't done anything feels like almost a waste of a pick. And I could be wrong. He could turn in to be, the next great tight end because he's got the tools for it and he's in a good offense that I like. But for this build, I think he should have went with a pass catcher outside of tight end.
Yeah. Gadsden's tough because he didn't have health issues or anything. He just wasn't
Stopped
relevant.
producing.
He just wasn't relevant after that, like that awesome stretch. So I don't disagree with you. That's a scary pick, but in full point tight end premium, definitely a high upside swing. So I don't hate it.
Team strength QB, just because you have 3 for sure starters for probably the next 3-4 years, at least. So you are locked down at the position. Team weakness, I picked wide receiver just because he has the one guy up top. He does have depth, but just the overall top tier guys, they just aren't there. And there's people that aren't sure Egbuka is going to stay that high. I'm of the camp that I think he's going to. I think he's going to be a great player. I think he's going to jump up from here next year. But TBD.
Yeah,
Are we?
you put him as
Sorry, go
one
ahead.
now. I mean,
Yeah, I was going to talk about that.
I kind of feel like he might compete, and then we'll be able to make choices. But I'd probably lean rebuild personally.
This is a really young team with
It's close.
It's stable at quarterback long term. It's all young running backs. It's all young
Saquon
tight
Barkley.
ends.
Other than
Yes, other than
Saquon and
Saquon.
Goff,
Other than Saquon.
Yeah.
But like
other than those two,
it's-
it's young.
it's
Yeah, so
rookie
I would have him as a
dense.
rebuilder.
I
Fair enough.
peg this as a rebuild for sure. Not that it can't win games this year, but I would guess his goal was rebuild.
Yeah.
Okay. Fair enough. I mean, price could go 32 to the Seahawks, and then we're staring at this backfield as something more than just the top 2 guys. But I'm fine with it. With it being, I thought I had a question mark at the end of that. When now it was more of like a question. I guess I know I put it on a couple of them.
Yeah,
Any
you put
fucking
on the
way.
next guy.
Jerkowski. Yep. Let's
Yeah.
move on to him. QBs, Patrick Mahomes, A-Rich. That should tell you all you need to know about win now or rebuild. He does have Joe Milton. He does have Leonard, Jared Stidham. That's it at QB. RB, James Cook, Emmett Johnson, Zach Charbonnet, Braylon Allen, Tank Bigsby, Ray Davis, Kendra Miller, wide receivers, JSN, CeeDee Lamb, Justin Jefferson, George Pickens. That's a hell of a top 4 for your wide receiver room. And then he also wasted a pick on Rice. You got Wandale, Manor, Tank Dell, who's supposed to come back, Kirk. That's about it. Tight ends, he did go Kincaid and Strange. Let me pull up his picks real quick if no one else has them up. Jerkowski, I believe he has basically none in 2027. He does have his 4th. That's why I kind of like win now maybe because he doesn't have his picks for 2027. Has them all for 2028 and 2029. I'll go for first here. My favorite pick was Justin Jefferson. A player now that has Kyler. I think JJ is probably going to be perceived as a top 5 player just this upcoming season at the position. I do think Kyler is a massive upgrade for that offense. And he's normally a guy that goes in the first round. I don't think he's going to jump up back to where he was just because of age. It's starting to get close to that time where he's going to start to plateau with value. But he could definitely go up from here, maybe back end of the first or the start of the second, at least for one more season. But to get someone like that in the second round, that could be the best player in fantasy is nice.
That's great. It's scary to be talking about Justin Jefferson getting up there in age. If Justin Jefferson's getting up there in age, what
Yeah,
are we?
yeah, no
That's
shit.
crazy.
We
That's crazy. My favorite. So for my favorite pick, I just wrote down wide receivers because I complimented him at the time. When he went JSN, Jetta, CD, I was like, that is so awesome. And then he added Pickens, and I was like, this is unbelievable. So I mean, Zach Charbonnet at the 14-6 was also very good value. I'm kind of looking back at that thinking my favorite pick was Tajay. Why the hell did I take Tajay like 3 picks ahead of Charbonnet? But yeah, so like I think this is a team that could really put up numbers, especially when Mahomes ends up being ready for week 1, because like of course he will. But yeah, this is a really fun team, and those wide receivers, I can't believe he created that wide receiver room and still has pieces around them. It's awesome.
Yeah, my favorite picks, I actually put 3 on the list just because they're even later than just getting those stud wide receivers, which were Charbonnet, as we said, at 14-6. I love the Wan'Dale Robinson pick. This is even before he signed, but we knew he'd be available or free agent in his targets. And in best ball, he has a high floor. And then Brenton Strange, I like as a tight end this year, with an opportunity, especially in best ball. It's like if he scores 5 or 6 touchdowns, those are the weeks you could use him, and he'll get used either at tight end or a flex. And so I put all 3 of those because they were in 14-6, 12-6, 10-6. And so where they got taken, I just thought was a good value.
All right. Picks I hate. I think it's pretty clear after I've been talking about this guy for the past 2 years. Rice at the 6-6. I just think that's too early. He's got so many problems going on around him if he's even playing this year. I know nothing has come out yet, but it could be any day where all of a sudden now there's a criminal investigation on him and he's on parole and then he's done. He's a good player for the team. He fits. He's got the stack with Mahomes. So if everything goes right, this is a good pick, but it could very easily go wrong. I know I've talked a lot of shit about Rice, but I have no shares.
I think my least favorite pick on here was James Cook, and yeah, I mean at this point in his career, I know he puts up a bunch of fantasy points every year, but that's a very hefty price for a running back that I don't know. I feel like we're a year away from the James Cook replacement entering Buffalo. I could be wrong. He could keep paying off this ADP. It's just for a running back that's on their second contract. I typically do not value second contract running backs quite that high. You could have had, Ted McMillan, Tyler Warren in this full tight end premium. I just think that's an expensive James Cook for where we're at in his career. It works for his build, and if he puts up another, 15, 18 touchdown season, then, it won't matter.
Yeah, I'll jump in here, and it was kind of the first most obvious glaring thing that I put on the list was QB2. Anthony Richardson, Riley Leonard, Joe Milton are literally even in best ballers, QBs trying to fill that super flex. And there's just no. As much as we hope they break out, you got to have at least another body to use, in my opinion. And then the other one that I wasn't a big fan of was the kind of rookie running back Emmett Johnson flyer in the 9-7.
Yeah.
Just felt
That'd be
like
tough.
you're trying to reach on a rookie that, maybe we'll like, maybe not, but it was just a little too much of a flavor of the week dart throw for me.
I got Tootin 3 picks later too. Yeah, there were some guys you could have gotten there. He's a big Bills fan. You know, he's got Cook, he's got Kincaid. Maybe I'll flip him Josh Allen for some JSN plus later because he needs the QB.
Yeah, maybe get Mahomes, or if he needs a QB, get JSN plus because he can give up wide receivers.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if
Yeah,
you're going to
Drakowski, hit me up.
Jeez him. Yeah.
All right. Team strength, I think it's pretty obvious. It's the wide receiver room with those
Yes, it is.
that top 4. Team weakness, QB outside of Mahomes. You don't have anything that you can plug in week 1. And win now or rebuild, it's going to be tough without that QB2. He could put up some points and maybe scoot his way into the playoffs at the very end, but it's more likely going to look like he's going into 2027 to play then.
Yeah, it's all about whether he makes some moves. I think it's how his team starts out and then makes some trades. Because you said he had all his picks, right? I'm trying to remember.
Drakowski.
No, he doesn't have his 27
he
picks.
doesn't have his 27 picks.
Well, then technically he's a win now, no matter what.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
he'll
that's
have
fair.
to make a trade to get a QB.
When we say he doesn't have his 27 picks, he has a 27 fourth, and that's it. So
Oh, shit.
Well, that's
So, yeah, he's a
that's
win
how
now.
he gets his QB2.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, next guy, Adam Q72. He's new to all these leagues. This was his first draft, and honestly, it was a pretty good one in my opinion. He didn't make a whole lot of moves, but the moves he made, he got good players. QB Stroud, Kyler, Willis, and Shedeur Sanders, Pro Bowler Shedeur Sanders. I'm gonna get that out of the way before Colin does.
Go on, baby.
RB's JT, Kenneth Walker, Travis Achan, Josh Jacobs, Tyrone Tracy, Adam Randall, Ollie Gordon, Aaron Jones. Wide receivers, Jamar Chase. He's got Ladd McConkey. He's got Carnell Tate.
this team's really
T.
good.
Higgins. Yeah. DJ Moore, Josh Downs, Jerry Jeudy. Wide receiver 1 for the Raiders, Jalen Naylor, Calvin Austin. Tight end, TJ Hawkinson, David Njoku, that's still yet to sign. Jasicki, Darnell Washington, Noah Fant, Jonnu Smith. And that's about it as far as his picks. He does not have his 27 first, third, or fourth. He does have his 27 second. The rest of his picks are intact. Who wants to go?
You go ahead, Gus.
Yeah, I'll say I jump in because I know you're adding a little bit of information. My favorite picks, I have my players. One of the guys that I'll bring up first is T. Higgins in the 708 spot is just way too late for me. Like the idea that he's 3 full rounds behind Carnell Tate and 2 full rounds behind Ladd McConkey playing with Joe Burrow, even if he is a few years older, just that's the one to me that is always glaring that I keep seeing in startups being so late. But the other guys I put on here, I decided to go a little later, which were Ollie Gordon in the 20th round, because I think he could be the backup in his spot. And then a guy I don't even really talk about much, I usually have shit on him, is DJ Moore in the 13th round of a best ball. We didn't know he'd get moved. I actually was high on him when he was in Chicago because there was a chance he'd be the best receiver for 4 or 5 weeks this coming season if he was still there. And for best ball, but getting a receiver on an up and coming offense, and now he even got moved, was very exciting. So yeah, I mean, in general, there's tons of players I like on this team. And I don't want to steal everyone else's, so I'll let you go, Vincent.
Yeah, I mean, I think this team is awesome. First of all, like if you scroll down the list and it's like you see him picking like Calvin Austin in the 28th, like Aaron Jones in the 21st, Darnell Washington, Mike Gesicki in the 20s, like he's going to have points from 30 different players this season, like hitting his lineup. I made my favorite pick, Ken Walker, And obviously, with hindsight, that's a very easy pick. But at the time, like he was the top of my board when he got picked. He was the guy I wanted to be my RB1. He's got him in a pretty strong room of veteran running backs. Obviously, he's going to slap in Kansas City, so that's awesome that how that landed for him. But even before that, the Super Bowl MVP in the mid 7th round, who's he's not, what is he, 25? Yeah, he's 25. He was the same draft class as Breece Hall, who we were saying was great value at 5'12" because of his age. So I thought that was an awesome pick. But yeah, I mean, he had a lot of good picks.
Yeah, this was definitely one of my favorite drafts. We'll get to that at the very end. My favorite pick was Travis Etienne at the 8-7. He was RB9 this past year in this platform. To get him at the 8-7, I just feel like it's wild because you look at everyone that's going around him before him, like a full round after K9. There's not really anybody else. Like Josh Jacobs was the last of a tier before K9, and he went at the 7-9, so a full round after that to get the RB9 in this platform or in this scoring settings. And this was before he signed with the Saints, before he got the bag. Like people were still thinking that he was going back to the Jaguars, which was still a good spot for him. So to get him here as your RB3, I feel like it was RB4. I mean, it's great value.
Do y'all, since we're on him, do y'all prefer him in Jacksonville or do you prefer him moving to the Saints?
Jacksonville.
Great question. I got to see how the Saints use him. He can do a lot of things. Is Kamara going to be a thorn still? I don't know what the deal is with Kamara. I always liked Kendrick Miller, but I think it's over. I don't know. So yeah, I think it could be good in New Orleans. It's just a question mark, whereas we knew exactly what he could be in Jacksonville. So it's less stable for sure.
Yeah, I prefer him in Jacksonville. He was just the guy, and he was going to go into the exact same system with the same quarterback, so much of it. I'm a Saints fan. I love that. I'm happy that he's coming to us. I truly think Kamara is going to be around this year and be the vulture of all vultures that people are like, why are you still in the league? And it's because he's getting paid $18 million.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of reasons for him to be there. But I think it was a great pick. I agree with you, Gus. I'll jump into my least favorite pick, and it's just in rookie drafts. And as we get closer to the draft, people are going to love him. But I just can't. I'm having so much trouble saying I'd rather have Carnell Tate at the 4-7 than a George Pickens.
George Pickens
was the next pick. Harold Fanning was the one after that in a full 1-point tight end premium. Tucker Kraft went before his next round pick. Like I'm having so much hesitation and issues taking, even if you think he's the stud wide receiver coming out, give me the guy that's done it in the NFL. Like upside, is Tate as good as Pickens was last year? Like not this year. I don't think Tate has any chance of that. It would take 2 years to get there. So Carnell Tate, as much as maybe he's a futures play, and you took him early, so maybe you're thinking I stay young, maybe I can get him, but just I'd rather have Pickens, who was literally the next pick, or Fanning instead.
Yeah, that's fair. I think it can be fun to pick rookies though. My least favorite pick was TJ Hawkinson. And I just think that ship is kind of sailing. He's 28. I know the QB situation was what it was. But yeah, I'm a little worried about Hawk's long-term outlook. And there's a reason I was not taking him there and I was taking Ty Simpson. So Hawk, I guess he got run out at tight end. Like, he doesn't have, that's his tight end 1. So
David
I guess it was a need.
Njoku.
Yeah. Njoku might outscore Hawk next year, and he got him in the 14th. I probably would have gone elsewhere for my tight end 1. But then again, I'm the guy with Terrence Ferguson as my tight end 1, so maybe I shouldn't throw stones.
All right, mine. So with his second pick, and this was in the third round, he took Jonathan Taylor, who's 27. I believe he's on the last year of his deal, whether he stays with the Colts or not. He's getting up there in age. He's getting to that point where his value is about to start tanking just due to age. Not to say that he's not currently a great player, but the fact that you got K9, Travis Etienne, and Josh Jacobs as your other three backs. Of course, it's hindsight. He didn't know that he was going to get those three guys when he made that pick. But I feel like he could have used that on the tight end that we think he needs. He could have went Warren, who went 2 picks later, and this team would look a lot better just from an overall draft. It's just the pairing of his age and what you were able to do with the rest of your picks. You have 3 stud backs and then a lot of depth behind those guys. And you're probably going to have 6 backs or 5 or 6 backs start every week just because of how much depth that you have. So JT at the very top, you could have went somewhere else with that pick and made your team better. But obviously hindsight is 2020.
A lot of what you're saying is what I was saying about James Cook. It's just like that running back.
Yep.
At that age, I just don't know if that's the right price at this point. And maybe that's just being stingy about running back. I think you and I have similar beliefs on running backs.
Fair enough. Team strength, I'm pretty sure it is RB. Weakness, I guess we can all agree now at this point that it's tight end just because of the way that his team's built. It's pretty strong everywhere else. And depending on how you feel about TJ Hawkinson, you could say that the weakness is the tight end position. I see it's very clear as a win now team. This is a great team. This team's going to push to win this year. Very easily a top 2-3 team.
Does it have the tight ends to win?
Well, nobody else does because Jake's got them. So.
Well, I'm just saying, even like in full tight end premium, and Joe could hopefully sign somewhere. My biggest issue is that it's just maybe it's only one hole because the rest of the team's so good, which we all agree. Running backs seem like you got so many good values. He's got the quarterbacks. You're right, but I just see that as a dud on his team that could end up biting him. Now, trading one of these guys for a tight end, probably, right? But
we're saying Travis Etienne was such great value. The next pick was Jake Ferguson, and I like Travis Etienne, but imagine if this team had Jake Ferguson, right?
Yep.
It is a bit of an embarrassment of riches at running back,
right? Because then he already had Taylor, Walker, and Jacobs. You're right.
Mm-hmm.
So
if the one hole on his team is the tight end that he has a stack with Kyler, and there's an upgrade in that offense, and Hawkinson could easily be a top 12 guy, whether it really matters, the back end of the top 12 tight ends from an overall perspective on a week-to-week basis. I think Hawkinson will probably be better than what we are saying just because of the upgrade in that offense.
Yeah, I know. I think his team can win even with that tight end for sure.
Yep. All right, here we go. Heads up. I believe this is his second startup draft. Maybe his third, but this guy trades a lot, and I kind of want to go through his picks first, just to give some context before we get into his players. He does not have his 27 first, but he's got 2 other 27 first. He has 3 27 seconds. He's got 3 27 thirds, 2 27 fourths. He's got 3 28 firsts, and then an extra third and fourth in 2028. So he's got a lot of picks. As far as his team, at the very top at QB, he drafted a lot of QBs that are gonna play this year. They're gonna have value that he could trade away for more picks later on or move to fill holes on his team. I feel like this guy is a very good drafter, probably one of the best that I've seen just from the way that he can move around and still make good picks. QBs are Drake May, Tyler Shuck, Danny Dimes, Bryce Young, Penix, Jacoby Brissett, Geno Smith in the 22nd, Quentin Ewers in the 23rd. I mean, he took a bunch later on to McKee, Garoppolo, James Winston, Trey Lance, Tyrod Taylor, Tyler Huntley, Sam Howell. RBs in the 13th round, Ramondre Stevenson, Chuba, Blake Corum, and 15th, Bill Krosky, Tony Pollard. Wide receivers, Devonta Smith, A.J. Brown, Terry McLaurin, Pearsall, Troy Franklin, Torrey Horton, Tucker. Tight ends, Tucker Kraft, Jawan Johnson, Barner, Isaiah Likely, Helm, Schultz, Otten, Arroyo, Jatavian Sanders, Zach Ertz, Darren Waller, Higbee, and Taysom Hill. I don't know why he took Hill. I think Hill's done. But other than that, like, to have as many picks as he has and still have I don't think he missed on any pick. Like all of his players that he has, he's got players that are going to score points this year, and he's got enough QBs to go around for everybody else when people start to need a QB 2 or 3.
Yeah, if I'm counting right, he has 6 starting quarterbacks, and that's not counting Penix. That's assuming Penix loses the job.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
It's crazy. I'll go first with the favorite picks. I picked Kraft at 5'5", not because he's a Packer, but because I think he's better than Fannin, and I would rather have Kraft over Fannin. I don't think that's too crazy, Vince. But because of the offense, Kraft was on a tear this year until he got hurt. And he's tied to Jordan Love. Fannin, who's his QB? I think Kraft going after Fannin, that's a good value, and to still get one of the top tight ends, one of the top 5 or 6 tight ends in Dynasty, to get him in the 5th round in this format, I think is good.
Vincent, why did you go next?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, my favorite pick was Geno Smith, and not because I'm a Jets fan, but just because, he found a freaking. I thought Geno Smith might retire. When we were doing this draft, I was Geno Smith wasn't even on my board. I wasn't sure if he was going to play football anymore. And now he's my favorite team starting quarterback. So, yeah, that's awesome. That's an awesome pull to grab an NFL starter in the 22nd round. So that was my favorite pick. There's, so many picks that were good, fun picks. But Geno Smith in the 22nd round is going to pay.
Yeah. My favorite pick was actually not one of the QBs, but A.J. Brown in the 7th round. I think he's just way better than that, will produce better than that. He kind of like T. Higgins are the guys that I keep seeing in the 7th round that will make me happy to trade out of the 4th to the 7th if I can in any of these drafts, which Heads Up has been doing. So, but A.J. Brown at 7-2, I just feel whether he gets traded or not, he'll be used a lot. He's still relatively young, and should have at least 2 to 3 more years left of what I would consider pretty top production. And that's 7th round wide receiver, got a name that we know will always be tradable, or at least an asset. It's just a little too late for what he can bring.
All right, Pixie Hate. I said one of the QBs, and I don't know which one because he's got a bunch of them, but one of them is not going to work out. One of them is not going to return value. I just don't know which one it's going to be. But the fact that he got all these QBs and they're all trade bait for in season when he's going to build, more around 2027. Like, I think this could be a team that could push to win now if he makes some moves and trades some QBs for backs and more pass catchers. Like I think he could move this team to win now. It won't look pretty. He won't have all the studs, but if you can, get someone that pops off that people are willing to trade away for a second, so someone that's not going to have value, like there's a good shot that this team could compete now. And he's got all those picks that if he wants to push to win now, he can.
Yeah. The pick I hated, you said one of them. I'm making it specific. It's the Michael Penix after.
Yeah.
I mean, he was a fifth QB he had. I think you could have taken another shot. You've been drafting well. Take another shot on one of the other players you like. And I know he ended up having a lot of picks after it, but you took Penix when we're not sure if he's the starter. He hasn't looked good. He's not a runner, so truly upside isn't there. When you've already taken Drake May, Tyler Shuck, Daniel Jones, Bryce Young, and then you took Penix. And so to me, it was just, we love so much of what he did. I just feel he could have taken a different position there and been fine not having Penix.
Yeah, that's what he does. He's gonna stick to it. He's gonna get all those quarterbacks, and you have to respect it. But yeah, Penix was a tough pick there for sure. My least favorite pick of his was Ramondre. There's just no way. I don't know. Like, I'm sure Ramondre will have a role early in the season. I'm not even sure he'll have a role early in the season. Like, we'll see how the rest of this offseason goes for them. But when he was really down bad at running back, and there were some guys, available. We talked about how the 14th round we had Charbonnet go. He just missed the boat. It looks like there was a little run there. I guess he was the one that got Chuba, but he just missed Algier, Montgomery. But I would have taken Tyjae Spears, Katron Allen, Zach Charbonnet over someone like Ramondre. Ramondre's not in a good spot. And he's not going to compete this year. Realistically, like, he doesn't have the depth. He's in a good spot where he's going to be able to keep collecting assets like he does. He's definitely going to flip these guys, but I think he's going to flip them for 27 pieces. He's not going to try to turn on the compete button. There's no way he could build an RB room with what he has. But yeah, Ramondre is not going to fix that RB room, in my opinion.
All right, team strength, overall depth. As far as players that are going to score points this year and picks, I don't think he really took anybody that didn't have value. Like, some of these picks we're looking at is like, why would you take that guy? I really like his draft as far as all of his players, are people that I would like to have on my teams, to score points this year. They're all cheap. That's kind of the trade-off that he had whenever he traded, when he traded back and got all those picks. He still picked up players that can get him more value down the line.
Yeah, I think he's going to fill that. I think he's going to fill that bench out with all those second round picks he has next year. Like, he has so many extra picks next year, and second round picks next year. I know it sounds like a broken record. A lot of those early seconds are going to feel like first round values. So, his strategy is like, yeah, I'll burn a bunch of picks in the 20s. Who cares? Everyone's burning picks in the 20s. If some of these guys end up starting games this year, teams need quarterbacks. Like, I'm going to flip them for more assets. He's going to fill those roster spots with his 20 draft picks next year in the rookie draft. So that's why I think it's a rebuild, but I think he's in a great spot.
Yeah, that's what I said. And I even put in the show sheet to me, it's purely a rebuild. I just don't know if he's going to get there with running backs, with Kraft I love, but depth at a lot of other positions and so many QBs. But yeah, let's keep moving along, and we'll talk about other teams, if we love them or not, at the end.
All right. Jables, this is his first draft. QBs, Trevor Lawrence, JJ McCarthy in the 9th. He did take Taylor Green just to stash on his taxi, and that look all nice and pretty for the next 3-4 years. RBs, Cam Scatteraboo, Tyler Algier, Devin Neal, Mike Washington, Taj Brooks, Phil Maffa, That's about it. Wide receivers: Puka, St. Brown, Makai Lemon, Elijah Surratt. Tight ends: Fannin, Stowers, Parkinson, and I don't remember what he had his picks. I should have had this up already. It's not like we had done this 7 other times.
He got an extra first and an extra second and 3 extra thirds.
Yep, and then he has all of his 28 picks. All right, who wants to go first?
You guys can, Colin. You can start us.
You want me to go?
Yeah, you got it, Colin.
Got it.
I think Vince is still trying to fill out his sheet here, so it's fine.
I got my
perfect.
picks in.
I actually went really deep. I never thought anyone really was a true value, just looking at where the picks were, until I kept going down. And a guy I love and loved last year that got no run, but just feel he could be someone that I want to highlight as a dart throw late, because I just don't necessarily think this team of the Cincinnati Bengals is going to take another running back. And he got Taj Brooks at the 24.9 pick. And if something, I mean, you already were down, Gus, on Chase Brown. And if something happens to him, I see Taj Brooks being the actual starting running back right now, where Perine's more going to keep his same role and Taj Brooks is the actual running back. And so getting him at the 24.9, best ball is way different, but he's a guy I like. I just want to highlight.
Okay. My favorite, I went Tyler Algier just because of what's happened in for free agency. At the 13-8, he could push to be the starter for the Cardinals. I know James Conner is still there, but he's not the same guy that he used to be. Tyler Algier could be the RB1 for this team. Then to get him in the 13-8 as your RB2, I feel like is a pretty good get.
For sure. I put in Fannin mostly just because Gus spewing nonsense about him a couple teams ago.
I was the biggest fan of Fannin before the year last year. Well, before the draft,
and then he scored 50 more points than Kraft has ever scored, and now you're down on him. Like, that doesn't make any sense. So he puts up 270 as a rookie in this format. 270 is a lot of points. He has an awful QB situation. Yeah. He had an awful staff, awful offense, awful quarterback. Like, everything was bad, and he put up 270 as a rookie that was second on the depth chart. Like, he obviously has nowhere to go but up. And yeah, he's a much better pick than Tucker Kraft a round later, obviously, coming off a torn ACL. So yeah, I mean, great pick, especially, again, we've talked about how Jake kind of threw the tight end market on its head. So to get a young elite tight end in the 4th round is pretty important.
Yeah.
Sounds like I should be sending all my shares of Fannin for Kraft then. So
probably.
I'll get right on that.
If you think Fannin's not worth as much as Kraft, go send the Kraft owners Fannin immediately.
I do believe that Fannin is worth just as much as Kraft, but worth and what they're going to do long term, and just not the two. They aren't the same thing to me when you have no long term answer at QB and you just got a new staff. Like,
yeah, because he can't perform with a bad quarterback, is what you're saying.
I mean, Shedeur Sanders was a Pro Bowler, so
it's true. I'll shut up.
Very much.
I'll hang up and listen.
He's back on the team.
I'll hang up and listen.
I'll start, and I looked at the show sheet and realized that all three of us have the same hate. So I'll just throw it up. JJ McCarthy, taking him with what we knew that probably someone was coming to replace him, or at least a huge competition. We didn't know who yet, but taking him, the biggest reason is the next 2 picks were Daniel Jones and Malik Willis. And that was before we knew Malik's entire passing offense would be shredded. But the idea that you wanted McCarthy ahead of them, no way I could do it. I mean, we saw how shitty that was with the best situation. even if he tries to get better, I don't think he wins the job, but just taking him over those guys is shocking, and I don't think you could do it.
I wouldn't pick him over Michael Penix, and we were just blasting Michael Penix being picked in the 11th. I put another name down as my least favorite pick just because I figured we were gonna nail the JJM pick enough. But yeah, I also wasn't a big fan of Skadaboo. It sounds like the Giants are looking for an RB1. There have been Jeremiah Love rumors. So yeah, I just don't know. Scat coming off like a life-altering injury. Like that was a serious one, so I don't know if Scat's the guy that you picked there with some of the guys that came off in the 7th round. But yeah, that's not as bad of a pick as JJM in the 9th. That's such a bad pick. That was a terrible pick. Sorry, buddy.
All right, team strength, youth, and his wide receiver room. Just overall, it's a very young team. Team weakness, no QB2 unless you count JJ McCarthy. So, this is pretty clearly a rebuild, and if that's the case, I would probably look to try to cash in on St. Brown. He's probably got another 2 or 3 years left before he hits that plateau. He's 26 now. Try to get more picks because I don't think this team is close.
Here's a question on JJ McCarthy. Do we think he gets like another chance in 2027, like elsewhere? Because if you're rebuilding, it's still bad value.
Like the Jets.
Round.
The Jets. I mean, the Jets will probably need a QB again.
Yeah, maybe he can compete with Arch.
Yeah. Since he's on his team, and we didn't talk about this in the news, are we worried about Puka Nacua?
Nacua.
Apparently that person like dropped their charges or something
already.
I think there was. Okay. Yeah, I think that may have been. I think people may have jumped to conclusions on that one.
Probably because he was gonna bite them again. Shit.
Who among us hasn't bit someone?
When I heard Puka Nacua say that from somewhere else, I was like, I am in.
All right. Moving on. Double tap. This offseason, he took over a shitload of teams. All right, someone's back feeding. Vince, I think that's you, Vince.
Sorry.
There you go. He's on mute now again.
Fuck that.
What happens? All of a sudden, like an hour and a half in.
Now
you're doing it.
My AirPod died. Hold on. I can switch out AirPods.
That's what.
Am I good?
All right. I think we're good. I can still hear myself. What's happening?
He muted himself, so it's better now.
All right.
Okay. You guys are in my ear now. We should be good. Sorry about that.
Okay.
All right. I think we're good. Yep, we're good. All right. He took over a bunch of teams this offseason. A bunch of the orphans. I believe this is now his second startup. I believe he was in both so far that we've done this offseason.
Yep.
QBs, Caleb Williams, Bo Nix, Jalen Milroe. RBs, Jeremiah Love, Chris McCaffrey, Kyron, Nick Singleton, Claiborne, Alvin Kamara, Bruce Miller, the fullback that was trending on Sleeper, Jordan Tyson, Cortland Sutton, Alec Pierce, Jacoby Myers, Jawan Jennings, Chris Bell, Pat Bryant, Kayshon Boutte, Xavier Leggett, and tight ends, he took Sadiq, Dallas Goedert, Chig, Evan Ingram. That's about it. And then for his picks, he didn't trade any of them. He's got all of them, and he also made no trades in the dirt. Oh, he made one trade, just like you, Vince. But
yeah,
all right.
I guess I'll start it up. It was interesting. He did the same thing in 31 where he made relatively no trades and just kind of went straight down with his players, his picks. He got a good number of kickers in that league, which of course meant he got some rookies. which is interesting. You have your style, your system, that the way you play. Uh, I guess for me, looking at his team, it kind of seemed like all youth, and then you take a really old guy. And for me, it's like stick to the system. And for me, the way I play is if I plan on going young, I want extra picks as well, if that makes sense. So the idea that he just went straight down and just kind of drafted his guys and then took a lot of rookies, I would have, I don't mind going young and trying to do a rebuild, but if so, to me, it's also trying to get extra picks, extra ammo to make trades, etc. But getting into his team, my favorite pick was Okonkwo, Chig in the 19th round. And this is even before we knew where he was going or what was going on with his situation. I just thought was a great and a full tight end premium. We knew he's athletic. He's had upside before. He's had good games. And so getting him way down there, I think, was just a great get.
All right. I went Caleb Williams. And it's not because I don't like Caleb Williams, but are we really saying Caleb Williams is the QB3 in Dynasty?
These are positive picks.
Wait. Oh, yep. I went to hate. I jumped straight to hate.
That's how much you hate him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
You couldn't
Just
wait.
skip the love. Myers was my favorite pick for where he got him and what he means to this team. I think he could easily be the top target for this offense with a QB that just took a big step forward. So to get Jacoby Myers in the 11 at the 11-3, I mean, to me that's pretty good value.
Yeah, I agree.
Now
I have
hate.
Jacoby.
Just kidding.
Well, I have Jacoby as well. I also like the Alec Pierce pick. I thought he did a good job of like patching together a wide receiver room that's like high volume guys. Jordan Tyson, I think, could end up being the alpha he needs. I don't know if he will be, but like that's a good flyer. And then yeah, the Jacoby pick in a good offense. It's pretty exciting. But then, shout out like in the dog days of like the late 20s, you get deep into these drafts and like it's kind of boring. There's not a lot to look forward to. Ripping out a Bruce Miller pick, that's really good for just league morale, It's not necessarily a value pick come September, but it's a huge value pick in February for morale for the league. And so I appreciated that pick.
Yeah.
We had a lot of fun with that.
I mean, one guy we didn't even bring up that he ended up with is Malik Washington. And as much as we've been shitting on Miami, he could be the wide receiver 1 or 2. So he could get some things out of him. Yeah.
He got a lot of targets per draft pick, right? Like with the value he got on these guys. I agree.
Yeah. And so I'll jump into the pick I hated. And it was more what I said about kind of sticking to a plan and kind of doing that. And if you went with youth, Christian McCaffrey at the 410 is completely opposite of that.
Yeah.
If that's the case, maybe try and stay older. But the only other older guy he kept was Kyron Williams and Cortland Sutton. So if you take Jordan Tyson and Sadiq, it's just you're kind of ping-ponging back and forth a lot. I'm not the biggest fan of that. If that was the case, I probably would have taken Bucky over McCaffrey. And yeah, that's my opinion on it. Just it doesn't stick to the system that I thought I saw. It's also a little early for me because McCaffrey's 29, and could he have one more awesome year? Yes. I mean, there's probably a greater chance in 3 years he's out the league than he's actually performing then. So that's my pick. McCaffrey at the 410.
Yeah.
As I was saying, just kidding.
Go ahead.
I was saying, the hate pick was Caleb Williams as the QB3. I don't think I'm ready to put him top 3 yet. I do get that there's upside, that he's young, he's very talented, he's got to complete more passes to take that next step. His completion percentage has been god awful, and yes, they did beat the Packers in the playoffs this past year, and all signs are going up for that team. There's still probably 2 or 3 more QBs that I would want to take over Caleb, and not at the 110. That's just me.
Is it, Gus, can you remind me, is this a points per completion percentage league?
No.
Because last I checked, he was the QB5 in fantasy last year. I don't know. I probably still take Lamar over him, but like I don't hate that. I don't think that's like crazy to pick
No.
Caleb there at the 110. Like, but I agree with you. He might not be the QB3 today, but yeah, I mean he puts up a lot of fantasy points and he's young, so I don't blame him. Good offense. My least favorite pick was Jalen Milroe. I just think he burned a pick. It's not a huge deal at that point in the draft, but Jalen Milroe is not going to get a chance to get on the field, I don't think. So that's a tough pick to stomach. Maybe it's part of the 2027 plan. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen with Jalen Milroe, but do you guys think he's going to be an NFL quarterback?
So Gus and I had this argument, I think on the last pod or 2 pods ago. I'll let Gus talk about it. I'm not. I think it's kind of
I
a burn.
believe we're talking, would you rather have Taylon Green or Jalen Milroe? Which one would
And it
you
was
rather
also
have?
like, would you rather I think it was like the 301 or Milroe. And I think you said Milroe. I said 301. Something like that.
Yeah.
You would take Milroe over the 3-1? Wasn't that
Yeah,
like
because
where he was going just about like a year ago?
Yeah, and no one expected him to start.
I don't think that's true. I think people thought he was going to get some starts. I don't think people thought he was going to be backing up a Super Bowl champion. I don't think anyone thought this was going to be his outcome. I don't think he's appreciated in value.
And that's Vincent. I guess we agree. I think he's kind of a burn pick. I think his value's done. He could be someone in 2-3 years when he's on another team, but I don't think Seattle's the place.
I would have picked him a year ago. He fits the mold of what I'm talking about with Ty Simpson, Jackson Dart. I would have taken the swing. I would have lost on that swing. I would not go for the sunk cost fallacy, though. I would be like, all right, didn't work out. Let's go get Ty Simpson. Like, let's do the next one.
Well, I think he's going quite a bit later now in startups, but with this class, there's not a whole lot of people that I'm excited with outside of the second round. So,
yeah.
All right. Team strength, I said QB just because he's got the 2 young QBs. Weakness, just overall depth. I think he's pretty solid at most positions, just not a whole lot of depth behind those guys, especially at QB with a waste of a pick and Jalen Milroe. So,
and you said he's a win now, maybe. Like, yeah, I mean, he's still got all his picks. It's kind of who knows. I think this is the perfect team to see how it starts. And then you got to be aggressive trading away some of the old guys or trading some of the young guys, right? One way or the other, or picks. If you feel like you can compete after week 5 or 6, you got to make a move. If you are on the other end, you trade away McCaffrey and Kyron Williams and Cortland Sutton.
Yeah. All right. 2 teams left. Here we go, Steele. Didn't make a whole lot of moves. He did make some. He does have heads up 27 first. So that's more than likely a top 3-4 pick, more than likely, unless he makes moves. But as it sits right this moment, it's probably a top 3-4 pick, which is nice. He does have the rest of his picks for 27, 28, and 29. QBs, Jaden Daniels, Jalen Hurts, Baker Mayfield, Joe Flacco, Carson Beck, Davis Mills, Spencer Rattler, Dylan Gabriel, Will Levis, if you care. Backs, Trey Benson, Rico. He's got Brooks. He's got a B. Robinson from the Falcons. Got him in the 20th. It's crazy. You can get that guy there. Emmanuel Wilson. Wide receivers, Neighbors, Chris Olave, Burden, Jordan Addison, Golden, Coker, Dobbs, Jack Besh, and tight ends, Hunter Henry, Pat Freiermuth, Michael Mayer. That's about it. All right, I'll go first here. My favorite pick was Rico. This was before he got that contract to go to the Steelers. He's probably going to be the starting back for the Steelers, and to get a starting back in the 12th round that just got a contract, that's pretty nice. That's
Totally.
about it.
I will say a couple things. One, Neighbors. If he wasn't coming off this injury, he'd be going at like mid first, right? And this injury is going to affect him for what, like maybe early September, right? Like when he's full speed, he's got a quarterback now. Yeah, he's an elite young wide receiver. I don't know why he's going in the second round. It's just people get scared when they see a guy get hurt, I guess. But also, like,
You mean
okay,
like
I gotta
Kraft?
rip a hot take. Yeah, just like Kraft. He's like the Tucker Kraft of good athletes. I gotta rip a hot take, right? It wouldn't be a pod episode without it. I'd rather have Will Levis than Jalen Milroe. How about that? There's my hot take.
I'd rather
This
have
year's
neither.
this
I'd rather
year's
have
Drake May
neither
versus
on my
Jaden
team.
Daniels. We're going the Wario version of Drake May versus Jaden Daniels. I would rather have Will Levis than Jalen Milroe. And I know he went 12 rounds later, but I think Will Levis is a great value in the 28th round. So there you go. Give me Will Levis over Jalen Milroe. Colin, I'll send it over to you. How are you gonna follow that up?
Oh, that big winner. My favorite is a guy I've talked about plenty on the podcast, so I'll go quickly. Is Romeo Doubs at the 13-11. He ended up getting a contract. I liked him. This is done when he was on Green Bay, but I just thought he was always on the field. He's a good run blocker. He fits his system, and of course, he catches some balls. And clearly, New England enjoyed that and liked that enough to give him a nice size deal. And so Romeo Doubs at the 13-11 in a best ball situation, I think, is a great add to a team.
Hey Vince, me and Colin have a bet this year with Wandale and Dobbs. Who's going to have more targets, Dobbs or
Targets?
Wandale?
You're in a target competition with Wandale Robinson. You're fucked, dude. You need yards. You need yards or touchdowns or any other measurable stat.
I think I wanted to go points, but he was worried about touchdowns, obviously, because I think Dobbs is going to score more touchdowns. I was fine with targets because I still think Dobbs is going to be the top target in that.
The top. Do you think they're putting him in like the 2020 Devontae Adams role? That's what you're projecting?
That's what he would have to do to beat him. Yes,
that's like Wandale Robinson.
But new system, will Wandale get that many targets that he has these past 2 years?
System.
Where
he has Brian Dabble. It's the same system.
It's like 300 targets in the past 2 years. It's fine.
It's the same system, dude. I hate to break it to you, but Brian Dabble's in Tennessee right now, putting the same system in place.
Well.
There's nothing better.
I forgot about that part.
I lose his bet, but the fact that Vincent's just shitting all over you guys is worth the $20 if I lose it.
I'm still fine with it.
Yeah,
we'll see how it goes.
When the Jets trade for Wicks, he's gonna out target both.
Probably. All right. Where are we at? I think we're going on a hate.
Yep, it's you, Gus, for hate.
All right, Trey Benson at 10-11 ahead of Dowdle. He took 2 rounds later. Just because now he's pretty much buried in that backfield behind Connor and Tyler Algier. To be the first back that you took, it's not great.
Yeah, my pick, and let me make sure I get the round correct. Your first tight end is the 14-11. So the pick I hated was taking Jordan Addison. I'm just not. We didn't know who the QB was. We all hated JJ McCarthy. We thought they'd bring someone in, but you had no tight ends or running backs yet, and yet you decided at the 8-11 to take your fourth wide receiver that I'm not the biggest fan of. So it was more I think you should have gone either tight end or running back in that situation, whoever you liked more. Running back was a little thin, so maybe tight end. But to me, it was not a big fan of Addison. I think you probably should have gone a different direction in position because you didn't have any at that point. Vincent?
All right, Vince.
I went with Benson as well, and yeah, we don't need to beat a dead horse because you kind of covered that, Gus. But yeah, that value didn't make a lot of sense to me at the time. Obviously, it aged pretty poorly too.
Yes, it did. All right. Team strength. Think QB is pretty pretty up there with where Jaden Daniels, Hurts, and Baker. Team weakness. Your RB1 is Trey Benson. Enough said. Well, now it's Dowdle, but the first one that you took was Trey Benson. Pretty sure this. He needs to make a move for a back. He does have that extra first. Probably needs to make a move for a back if he wants to contend. I think this is a team that could if he addresses tight end and backs. Henry is going to be fine. He's going to be a low end tight end 1, early tight end 2, just because he's going to be one of the top targets in that offense, hopefully behind Dobbs, because if he's ahead of Dobbs, I'm fucked. But he could easily flip this into playing for next year. He's got those firsts for next year.
Yeah, the extra picks make it better, but I think he's truly rebuilding. So having those QBs, having the situation, having all these young wide receivers that he took early and getting the extra pick, to me, he's purely a rebuild and just seeing what works out and then maybe making trades for the year to add on to that. Plan for the future.
I mean, if I were him, I would go to one of these teams we've said is like a little RB dense. And I would get an RB and
Jordan
I think
Addison
compete.
Yeah.
Like we were talking about, it was Adam, like Adam's team. Adam could spare a running back, and maybe could use a QB. We'll see. So I think he could make a move and very quickly be competing. But if he runs into the season with this roster, then yeah, I don't think he can make a run.
All right. Our last team, Crankbait. He's been here since the start. He's in quite a few leagues. I believe he won his first championship this past year. QBs for this team: Jackson, Burrow, Herbert. Don't have to say a whole lot more. That's an incredible start. Love that you can get those 3 guys at the right top. And he did take another QB for the rest of the draft. Backs, he went Bucky Irving, Jonah Coleman, Warren, Marks, Gainwell, Connor, Najee, Singletary, wide receiver, Marv, J-Mo, Zay Flowers, Christian Watson, Xavier Worthy, Bernard, Keon Coleman, Wicks, who's gonna be a Jet in the next year, Bateman, Coleman. I think it's about it. Tight ends: George Kittle, Theo Johnson, Trigg, Noah Gray, and that's about it. 4 picks. He doesn't have his 27 second and third. He's got his first and fourth, and his 28 and 29 are intact. Who wants to go first?
I'll start. I was chatting with Crankbait throughout this draft. And what I think really made this team a team I could believe in to win this year was those picks at the 6-7 turn. I think it was the 6-7 turn, right? My app just crashed. J-Mo and Zay Flowers, at that point in the draft, getting that many points per week from still relatively young players, I thought that was a great value at wide receiver. And I think that's what got me believing that this could be not just a QB deep team where you build for long-term success, but like a team that could put points on the board in 2026. So I thought he crushed that turn right there with J-Mo and Zay Flowers. Really defined his team the rest of the way.
Gotcha. My favorite was actually a little later. With the 9-1, got Christian Watson,
You're
who
damn right.
I kind of, yeah. Part of the reason I put it on here is just so I could steal from Gus talking about him. But I feel he's the wide receiver 1 in Green Bay. He looked like it when he came back healthy, and getting with the 9-1 in best ball is just he's your 4th receiver in best ball, where he's either going to be your wide receiver 2 on a week, maybe 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 weeks, or he won't be on your roster. And in best ball, it's perfect, right? Deep threat, get more targets, could have some blow up games, which is awesome. So love that pick. The other one I really like was Gainwell at 14-12. Just, and this is when I thought I was a big Gainwell fan. I have him in a lot of leagues, but in startups, he kept falling. I thought he was going back. I thought Rodgers was going to tell the organization, "I'll come back if you sign Gainwell." Like that was one of my needs, or how he used to have Alan Lazard with your Jets. I thought that was one of the things he was going to say. Is like, if you get Gainwell, I'm coming back. We haven't heard anything like that, and now of course Gainwell signed elsewhere. But getting Gainwell at the 14-12, we know he can catch passes. We saw how well he was out of the backfield or lined up as receiver, and how well he was used. That will definitely be a nice piece to have in best ball for sure.
My favorite pick, I picked Justin Herbert at the 3-1. He is a Chargers fan, so this makes a lot of sense. Why he made this pick, but I really think Justin Herbert can push for an MVP this year. I like that offense. I think that offensive line, you get everyone back healthy. And this offense has a lot of weapons, and with Justin Herbert, I think he's got plenty of options and plenty of ways to put up a lot of points this year. And he's going to be one of my favorites for MVP this year. So to get him in the 3rd round, he's still pretty young. He's 28. He's going to have another 7 years in the league. To get him in the 3rd round, that's a pretty good get to me.
Yeah. And before we get to the hates, one I actually want to highlight that I've started picking up either off of waivers in leagues or actually drafting real late is Greg Dulcich, because they have no more weapons in Miami. And so I think he's could easily be number 1, number 2 target on that team right now. Showed a little bit at the end of last year. I know whole new system, et cetera, but they brought him back. And so getting him at the 31st round, I just like that a lot. Anyway, Vincent, I think you're up for hates.
Sure. Yeah. And I will say, like, going forward, I think if I'm going to hop on a podcast episode, I'm going to have everyone sign a form that says they won't bring up Alan Lazard, just out of respect. I think that was like, why am I hearing Alan Lazard's name right now? But anyway, my least favorite pick was Marvin Harrison Jr. I was actually, I mentioned when we started talking about Crankbait's team, I was like messaging with him at certain points throughout the draft. And I was talking about trading up for this pick. Actually, I was talking about trading for the 5-1. And I was like, you know what? I just have to hope you don't take my guy. I'm gonna sweat it out. And he was like, I know your guys, I'm gonna take it. And I sent him a screenshot. I had like 25 names in my queue. And he takes Marvin Harrison, and I sent him a screenshot. I still had 25 names in my queue. He wasn't even on my board. I was like, dude, you did not affect me. So yeah, that's just I'm not buying Marvin Harrison personally. That's just a personal preference.
Who are you looking to trade up for?
Let's see. Let me look at the board, because I honestly don't 100% remember.
Was it Kraft?
I think I was between I think I was between Jordan Tyson and Brian Thomas, and I ended up getting Brian Thomas at the 6-3. Jordan Tyson went a couple picks later, but no, it was not Marvin Harrison. It was not Tucker Kraft. I like Tucker Kraft, by the way. The fact that we're putting Tucker Kraft in Harold Fanning conversations when Harold Fanning's dog walking him is crazy. Yeah, I like Kraft.
Dog walking is the best.
It's like,
I don't think that's completely true. I mean, if you look at Kraft's start to the year, it was insane. The fuck
I think we should not get back into that discussion, but I love the slight hate. We just threw shade like so easy. So I'm gonna jump in. The pick I didn't like was Jonah Coleman. I'm pretty sure even back then that was just a very high for what We thought we didn't know who the running back 2 was of the class, and jumping in that early just felt high. I understand if you're like, I need a running back and let's take this guy. We're at the point now, I think we have some more information, but I just love every other pick. All his next 3, Jalen Warren, Woody Marks, Kenneth Gainwell, better than Jonah Coleman right now. I'd probably take over him. And so take him at the 8-12. I think there's, plenty of other options. You could, of course, couldn't take a quarterback then because you already had him, but maybe jump him to the tight end market or a different running back is probably what I would have done or have thought of. So Jonah Coleman at the 8-12 would have been is my pick for least liked or hated.
Would you rather Jonah Coleman or Kyle Monungai?
Kyle
Monungai.
That's what I think so too. And Kyle Monungai went again in the 10th round. So
yeah. I probably prefer Swift too.
Yeah.
All right. My hate pick was Marks. I know, Colin, that you like Marks a lot, but I just don't think he was a very good player. He was not very efficient. Yes, that offensive line was dog shit, but now he's also the backup behind David Montgomery. So your 4th RB taken is a backup, and your 3rd RB taken is a backup, and your 2nd RB taken is gonna be a backup. Like there was still a bunch of starters out there that you could have taken. So,
like Ramondre Stevenson.
Yep,
Yeah.
exactly.
Got it. Nice.
Team strength, I think it's pretty clear. QB at the very top. Your first 3 picks are three studs. Team weakness, I think we just talked about it. RBs. I still think this is a win now team. He can still make some moves and get a back, or he can piece it together because he does have like a good amount of like backup depth at RB, and guys are gonna score. They're gonna find ways to get on the field. Warren, Marks, Gainwell, Connor, Najee, if he signs somewhere. What's up, baby? What are you doing?
Hey.
On that note, are we jumping into dad advice?
She wants to know why you didn't mention that
want
he
some
also
water?
has Roshan Johnson in
Okay.
the last round.
Let's go get some water.
Dude, I
I'll
was
be
actually
right back.
thinking, and I'm kind of
Sounds
looking at it as the 36th round, 36.12. Do you think there's a chance Roshan Johnson actually hits his lineup?
I think both of those last 2 picks have a shot at one point to hit the line. Xavier
Just
Scott,
one
dude.
time.
Xavier Scott was fantasy relevant for a couple weeks last year, wasn't he? Yeah.
Yeah.
He scored 17 one week.
Yep.
Yeah, that was in London, right?
London.
Yeah, that was the
London
game against Pittsburgh. Yeah,
and that's when we first heard about Gainwell too. Remember, because that was when Warren was hurt. Remember, and Gainwell had like 3 touchdowns or something.
Yeah, Gainwell. I remember like week 1 against the Jets, it was like, why is Gainwell on the field? And then by week 4, it was like, why is Gainwell always on the field?
right. And what happened to that Caleb Johnson guy? Yeah,
it looks like Roshan got about 10 snaps last year. So yeah, it might be over for Roshan.
Then he got hurt.
It's probably done.
It might be over.
He got hurt after week like 2.
Okay. I think we're done with all the teams.
Let's get your list, baby.
All right. So this is the order that if I were to join this league, this is the teams that I would want to join in order. Starting with 12. I'm going to go with Jake here, just because the way that he started his team and the kind of how he drafted. Just not a huge fan of the strategy. Moving on to 11, I'm going to go Nate the Great. 10, I'm going to go Jerkowski. 9, I'm going to go Jables. 8, Vince. It's going to be you at 8. 7 is going to be Goat Daddy. 6 is Here We Go Steel. 5 is Double Tap. 4 is Crankbait, the team we just talked about. 3 is My Sleepers. 2 is Adam. Number 1 is Heads Up.
Oh, so we had the same with the same top pick. I like Heads Up team. I always love getting the extra picks for multiple years. I just think the way he played the board and his picks were very good. Even if I don't think he'll compete this year, I think it's it's the way to do it. And in the future, I think he would be the best team I would want to take. So I put that down as well.
Any thoughts, Vince? Any thoughts?
I mean, 8th? No, I'm
Eighth.
I'm joking.
You don't have a
I
QB
mostly agree with
too.
your assessment.
Yeah.
The only thing that really jumped out at me that I would like strongly disagree with, I really liked what Jerkowski did, and I think that'd be a great jumping off point. I know that's another situation without a QB2. Maybe that's your stopping point
Yeah.
with him, but
I believe part of it was also picks. Hold on.
you also he did sell out, but like he sold out and he has JSN, Jetta, CD, Pickens.
Yeah, it's true.
He also has Rashee Rice, another guy you're low on. So I get why maybe you ended up where you did on him, but that is definitely Jerkowski is a team that I would have no problem picking that orphan up. That's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's still a good team.
You got
You don't have
10th, I
a
think.
RB2, you don't have a QB2, and I'm not a big fan of Mahomes just because at this point I kind of have to be this way.
You can jump back on right now. You got it right. They went back in the playoffs. Now's your
It's a
chance to
disease.
get back in, Gus.
No,
Now's your chance.
I did say in Dad's 31 where he was drafted, I did like the value. That was one of my favorite picks from that team that took Mahomes. I forget where he was. I think he was the 3rd round as well. But
He was.
yeah,
The scrappy underdog Mahomes.
Yeah.
yeah. Maybe he can win a Super Bowl. Maybe we'll see. But yeah, heads up. I mean, love the work that you do in these startups. You're a wizard, and you're mean, and you bully people, but you fucking get the job done. But and great drafts. I love what you do with the trades. You put in more work in these startups than anyone I think I've ever seen. So
Yeah,
and it shows.
I'm excited talking about heads up of the other startup we did, which was Dad's 30, I think, last year.
30. Oh my
And-
goodness.
He's got all these picks, made trades. I'm very curious to see what he does with it. I guess part of it is to see what kind of trades he makes, because I haven't seen much right now. And so I'm assuming it'll start happening sooner rather than later.
He's gonna try to
Calm
move
before
back.
the storm.
Yeah.
We'll see. Vince, if you don't want to give any advice, I think I can do it.
Yeah. I mean, you just were
Yeah, I
working the
figured as
field.
much.
So
Yeah. Today is actually me and my wife's anniversary. We've been together for 10 years, married for 4. And I think it's very important to show your kids that you love your partner, your wife, your husband, whoever it is. I think it's very important to show your kids what it takes to love someone else, or to be the example that they need to see. How is a marriage supposed to go? How are you supposed to treat your husband or wife? And we don't ever argue or fight in front of them. We don't ever say mean things to each other. We always show that we love each other, and it's just trying to set them up to know what a good partner is supposed to be like.
Yeah. So is your wedding anniversary today, or is your 10 years together?
Our wedding anniversary is today.
Well, I appreciate you spending time with Vincent and I instead of caring about that. But the love you show for your kids is very important.
Yeah. I got her favorite flowers today, and on my way home from work, and we went out to dinner last night. So it's not
Perfect.
like we didn't do something today. So
yeah.
But yeah.
Well, congrats.
All right.
Making 4 years. That's awesome. There you go.
Happy anniversary, man.
Yeah. Well, I think that about does it for this one. It's another long one. Next week, we're going to be talking about the RB class. And the week after that, wide receivers, then tight ends. Tight ends will probably be a lot shorter than the first.
On the tight end class, do we also do a rookie mock or a first round mock? You know what I'm saying? Because tight ends will be a little shorter for sure.
Yeah. And there's this thing that I do every year. If you predict the top 10 picks with teams and what slot that they get drafted in the NFL draft, you win a free signed jersey of your choice. I think this year the way I'm going to do it is we're just going to take the top 10 prospects that kind of go with Dynasty. So like the top QB, a few backs, some wide receivers, and some tight ends, like guys that are supposed to go day one, and just pick the top 10. Like some guys maybe day two, but just the top 10 guys. If you can correctly predict where they go, what team they go to, if you get all 10 right, I'll buy you a signed jersey of your choice. I think this is going on year 3 or 4 that I've been doing this. I've yet to have anyone get it right. I think someone got close, not this past year, but the year prior, but Penix kind of threw a wrench in all that because no one expected Penix to go to the Falcons. So
Right. I was going to say, if anyone got like 6 of 10 right, they're doing awesome.
yeah. I mean, it is a long shot for sure, but what we've been doing the past few years is just the top 10 picks. I think I want to make it more tailored to Dynasty. So QBs, RBs, wide receivers, and tight ends. So let's just do it like that. Top 10.
Sounds great. Well,
And then if nobody
hit it, thank you, Vincent, for coming on. Your 8th place team looked at least 7th best to me.
Thank you. My third was 6th.
Yeah, kind of had to curve the allegations that I just picked the co-hosts that have the best teams.
Very true.
But this one was true. Like, it's a fine team. It's just not one that I would favor.
Yeah. I think in 31 you had me like 2nd or 3rd. It was something like that. So
yeah. You and Miles, I think, were like top 4. So it's like, all right, kind of. But all right, let's get out of here. Thank you, guys.
Peace, guys.
Did everyone just leave? What?
Hey, Colin.
Did you just leave?
I did, but by accident. But
I thought you did on accident. That's why I stayed.
Yeah.
Vincent was just like, peace, gone. Good luck. Hopefully he leaves this shit open so it loads.
Yeah, I'm sure he's fine. Yours is at 99. Mine's going up from 70s, 80s.
You haven't stopped the recording yet.
Oh, yeah, that's fair.